Hello.
Hey, it still looks weird, but whatever. It sounded okay when it was playing back.
Yep.
I'll figure it out. Oh my god, what the heck? For people who don't know who I'm talking about, my Audacity looks weird. I think it's somehow set so that my voice, it automatically makes my voice only a certain volume, and I don't know why it's set that way. But we'll go with it for this one. We'll go with it.
Yeah, it might even be a good change.
It'll be.
Already no.
It probably won't sound very different at all. But, so you wanted to give your review of Terraria.
Yeah, dude, Terraria Journey's End
update.
update. Yeah, it's the 1.4 update, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking really good. They fucking did a bunch more animations. They fucking put a bunch of new bosses. They put a new game mode in. It's called Journey Mode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so much stuff added to Terraria. So it's like a whole new game now. So just play Terraria if you have it. It's pretty cheap, I think. I think I bought it for like $7 or something like that. Maybe it's like $14. It's pretty cheap.
$14?
I don't know.
That's
I think
a good game already.
Yeah, I think that's how much I bought it for. But I don't know how much it is now.
Okay, so what would you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, Terraria is a really good game.
What would you give the update?
Oh, the update.
On its own.
Probably like 7 out of 10.
And then what would you give Terraria?
Terraria 8 out of 10, dude.
Okay.
8 out of 10. It's a good game.
What were you going to say? There were a few things?
I don't really know. There's a few things about this. There's a few things. That's all I was going to say. There's a few things.
Okay, are you ready to start Natsuhi's trial?
Yes. Natsuhi. Guilty. There.
All of the pieces from the game board were gathered. All of the humans, furniture, witches, and the witches on an even higher level had gathered in one place. That place was like a solemn cathedral with an unbelievably high ceiling. White stonework, golden ornaments. Though there were windows, there were no entrances or exits. It was a strange, strange place. But for some reason, no one wondered where the strange place was, because they were not given the right to think of this place as strange.
What?
The pieces, have they all been gathered?
Yes, they have.
Well done, what a show. I wonder just how many people there are here.
No matter how many we see, every being outside the 18 is a phantom. Making you acknowledge them is what my game's all about. The three witches were seated on special thrones set upon a very high balcony. In the center sat the Game Master, Lambda Delta, and on either side of the semicircular balcony sat Bern Castell and Beatrice facing each other. Below them, Erica ran forward, lifted the corners of her skirt, and bowed respectfully.
Great Lady Lambda Delta, we thank you for granting our request for an assembly. And Great Lady Berngastel, my master, please look forward to it. Though it may be only for a short while, I will most certainly make my master forget all about the poison that torments her.
Yes, I am looking forward to it. I'd expect no less from my double, my piece. Erica and Bern Castell exchanged cruel smiles that'd make anyone want to avert their gaze.
Listen up, witches and humans. I hereby announce that with this assembly of witches gathered, the Court of Illusions will now begin!
The commander of the game spoke with words of power. Though her words were spoken within such a vast space, they rang out with the force of a bell in a bell tower.
Your lives and roles as they correspond to this game are over. The 5th game is now closed, and the 24-hour clock answer session shall begin. Well, I'd like to get started quickly, but why don't we have everyone quickly introduce themselves first? After all, there are so many people here. I am Lambda Delta, the Witch of Certainty and the new commander of this game.
Burncasto, Witch of Miracles. My goal is to penetrate Beatrice's illusion of the witch. I am the Endless Witch, Beatrice. My goals are to claim my own existence and to protect Natsuhi and Kinzo. Battler, you come next in rank.
I'm Ushimi Battler. I'm fighting against Beatos. No, against the witches. That's all.
As I believe you know, you joined in on this game partway through. At the time this assembly of witches opens, you have yet to participate. Do you understand?
I get it. You probably mean I don't have the right to speak for a while, right?
Thank you for understanding.
Nice.
Even though Battler held a rank near that of witches, he sat on the foremost of the benches shared with the other relatives, all by himself at one end. He met the gaze of Beato, who was up on the balcony. You might have said you were my arch enemy.
Well, you aren't necessarily my only enemy.
Humph. Let's take this game back. It belongs to us.
Yeah. I almost said I was fighting against Beato's illusion of the witch. Since the beginning, Beato has been my only enemy. But right now, Erica and those witches who started toying around with Beato's tail are also my enemies. Who should I fight and how? Maybe it's a good thing I don't have the right to speak for a while. I'll calm down and coolly watch over everything. I'm the detective, and the one who called for the assembly of witches, Fruit or Erica. I will expose the culprit of the 5th game and stick a charming period on the end of this tale.
Erica greeted the witches above her and the humans behind her once again.
I'm also looking forward to it. Okay, remaining pieces, introduce yourselves in whatever order. Humans, introduce yourselves, all of you.
When 4-5 urged him to introduce himself, Kinzo stood up.
I'm Ushumi Kinzo. I slipped out of the study window and I'm hiding somewhere on Rocky Mountain. What?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Ushimi Kraus. Currently, I have been captured and being confined somewhere. I'm Ushimi, but I'm alive. I'm Rudolph. The rest of us are all Ushimis too, so I'll leave off the family name. I'm Ushiro Rosa. I was killed on the first Twilight. Jessica. I also died on the first Twilight. I'm George. I also died on the first Twilight.
Maria, I died, but I'm here talking. See? Dying isn't a big deal, right?
I'm Oshiromi Natsui. I am the culprit of this game.
I'm the culprit.
I am alive.
Hideyoshi here. I was killed just a short while ago.
Kyrie, I'm still alive. Nanjo, I am also hanging in there. My name is Genji. I passed away on the first Twilight. I'm Shannon. I'm still alive. I'm Canon. I'm also alive. I'm Goda. Pleased to meet you, everyone.
I am Kumasawa. Pleased to meet you. Now, on to the witches. Everyone introduce yourselves.
Jesus Christ.
God, how many witches are there? Oh no.
Billions.
Damn, this is pretty good art. Oh shit, this is an amazing background.
Virgilia's group could also be seen. Unlike the floor Beato's group was on, the second floor had a balcony that looked like raised audience seating, and they sat there, looking down as though they were at a theater. My name is Virgilia. I am Beatrice Tita. I'm Gop. Making corpses disappear is my job. Thronove. I'm in charge of making black tea. Pukuku. Oh, all of
All of the states? Nah.
I greet you in the name of the 7 Sisters of Purgatory. I served in the murder of Hideyoshi on the second Twilight.
Oh god, all of them.
The 7 Sisters of Purgatory right here. Okay, good. So they didn't do it one by one.
Yeah, that's amazing. Jesus.
Let us then have Lady Erica's furniture introduce themselves.
So I did Gertrude.
Gertrude, I am an assistant inquisitor of heresy. Cornelia, I am an assistant inquisitor of heresy.
The two of them could also be seen on the second floor audience seating. They sat apart from Virgilia's group. Then Delanor, who was seated between the two, slowly stood up. She had a presence and dignity about her, as though she was overseeing everything from that place.
Delanor Knox is my name. I am Lady Erica's primary assistant. Battler, I expect much from you. Please don't disappoint me.
Let's just both give it all we've got. Most of the time, there will be no need for Dylan to step forward. However, when the witch side plays around with ugly word games, I'll need to have Dylan convicted. A miracle like the one in the study won't happen again.
It always will. It's not a miracle. Kinzo really jumped out of the window.
What?
And
How
flew.
can he jump when he's dead?
Oh, maybe he was thrown out of the window.
Fucking Kinzo, its dead body just jumps out the window.
And finally, let us introduce ourselves. We are the Chester Sisters, Imperial Guards who have been tasked with management of proceedings at this assembly of witches. Hello, everyone. Yeah. This ends the introductions of all pieces. A total of 38 people are present here.
38 people.
That's 20 more people than we started with.
Yeah.
Jeez. There are 38 characters in the 5th game. And yeah, I was just about to say there's characters from the other games that aren't here. Like, remember Anji and all the characters she met.
All those characters.
And young Ava. Yeah, there's a lot of characters that aren't here. So there's more than 38 characters that we've met. That's crazy.
That's quite a few.
No wonder we're running out of voices. God damn. But if you added all the pieces from previous games too, it would probably rise even higher. This game, which has so often been likened to chess, now has far more pieces than a chessboard.
Yes.
Very well, then I guess we'll get started. We'll let the person who called this meeting begin. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Goat. Refill my drink.
And some popcorn for me.
Yeah, that's right. The one who decided demons ought to eat popcorn when watching a play was you, after all.
Yes, I intend to enjoy this. And could I get some black tea and mustard miso? Erica, begin. I'm already starting to get bored.
Yes, my master. Leave it to me. Order. Silence.
At the sound of her voice, the Chester sisters' core straightened up, lifted their right knees, and stamped down hard on the floor with their heels.
What? Oh, are they doing the can or something?
No, they just stomped on the ground.
Oh, alright.
It became a low, deep rumble in the ground, and all chatter in the cathedral disappeared instantly, as their eyes and expressions became even more hollow and empty. The room fell back into silence, almost as though they were a collection of wax models. Amidst this heavy silence, there was the sound of footsteps, as Erica walked out into the center where she could catch everyone's attention. When she signaled with her chin, a goat attendant appeared from behind a pillar and carried a single plain chair out into the front and center of the room. It must have been the defendant's chair.
Furuto Erica will make an accusation.
Battler!
Ushirumi and Natsuhi. You are the culprit.
Erika pointed at Natsuhi and spoke. The Natsuhi waxed all alone, shook, and regained its expression. It was an expression of panic.
Chester sisters, please take the defendant to her chair.
Understood.
Wait! Oh, what are you doing? Oh, let go of me!
No.
4-5 and 4-10 both pinned Natsuhi's arms behind her back and led her to the chair in the center. Natsuhi resisted, but the Chester sisters were surprisingly strong and she couldn't do anything. She turned to the relatives for help, but they just remained silent like wax models.
Furuto Erika, will now reconstruct why the crime was only possible for Yoshimi Natsuhi.
Beato, of course you will be challenging this, right? Naturally. I am the Ushiromiya family alchemist, Beatrice the Golden. Furuto Erika, I challenge you. I'll take these false accusations you're trying to place on my master and tear them apart.
Beatrice?
Fear not, Natsuhi. You are my master, and you are the true head with the one-winged eagle engraved in your heart. Do not fear a crime you have not committed. At those words, Natsuhi jerked back and gulped. Her panic finally disappeared, and she stood up straight.
That's true. I am Ushiromiya Natsuhi. I will confront any challenge that would disgrace the Ushiromiya family.
How can you try a bluff like that in a situation like this? You really are the bullied kid in every single fragment.
So, Burn, make your claims.
I, Burncastel, claim that a human, Ushiromiya Natsuhi, is the culprit of this game.
And you too, Beato, okay?
I, Beatrice, claim that the culprit in this game is not human. I am the culprit. Burncastel, who smiled daringly, and Beatrice, who smiled firmly, crossed gazes.
Listen, witches and humans, two claims have appeared for a single truth. Is the culprit a human, Ushiromiya Natsuhi? Is the culprit a witch, Beatrice? If the witch wins, the truth about the fifth game will disappear into darkness. If Erika wins, the illusion of the witch will be wiped from the game board. In other words, for Beato alone, this is a battle that must not be lost. Are you prepared?
And what am I supposed to be preparing myself for? This has always been just what I wanted. If Erika wins, the illusion of the witch will be destroyed. That means the existence of the witch will be denied. Beato was fighting for her life. However, this wasn't the only time she had been fighting for her life. It had always been a life or death struggle, even when she fought with Battler. Because if Battler had won and destroyed the illusion of the witch in the previous games, Beato would have been destroyed.
That's dirty. Erika Luna has nothing to lose if she fails.
I wonder, Lady Burncastel is not a compassionate person. I can't imagine she'd give warm treatment to a piece that didn't perform to her expectations. It was inconceivable that the ruthless Burncastel would place no blame at all on a piece who had suffered defeat. Erika was probably fighting for her life just as much. The two claims would clash and one would be weeded out. One would fall and would not leave this place alive. The only ones who truly had nothing to lose were those witches.
Okay, no problems. Get started.
In that case, I would like to go
Okay,
first.
I think we're going to get into the murders now. I keep saying that, but I think this is when they're finally going to do the murders.
Yeah, I can tell because it says the murder of Hideyoshi is very simple. Yeah. The murder of
Well, I
Hideyoshi.
hadn't clicked that far yet.
The murder of Hideyoshi is very simple. It should be impossible to suspect anyone other than Natsuhi. Except for the victim and Natsuhi, all of us were in the same room, correct? Oh shit, really?
It really was simple. Except for Natsuhi, everyone had been inside the parlor. Yeah, because Natsuhi, they were all in the parlor.
Like
and
everyone?
then Natsuhi was like, "Oh, I've got to go and hide in the closet."
Oh shit. Huh.
Yeah, everyone was there.
Huh.
And because it was so simple, it was decisive. No matter how you look at it, the one who killed Hideyoshi was Natsuhi. No, it's the other way around. No matter how you look at it, no one except for Natsuhi could have killed Hideyoshi. There's no room for discussion or debate. I'm telling you that's a mistake. Maybe I don't have an alibi. However, I don't believe a lack of an alibi proves that one is the culprit. Humph, we know that Natsuhi is the only one without an alibi. But wait, the scene of the murder was a closed room. It should have been impossible for anyone, including Natsuhi, to have committed the crime in that room. Except nobody looked in the closet. Except for me, since I could have done it with magic.
I'll explain the closed room trick, the how done it, later. For the time being, I'll start with the who done it. Because of the aforementioned, it's impossible to suspect any character except Natsuhi regarding the murder of Hideyoshi.
M'lady, it may be dangerous to press any further on this. I agree. It's a fact that Natsuhi was hiding in the closet of Hideyoshi's room. When it comes to repeating things in red, they'll check to see who's in the room, and you'll be cornered. Probably. Lady Lambda Delta is the commander of this game. If it suits her fancy, she'll set up Natsuhi as the culprit regardless of the facts. If the typhoon passes and the police come to perform a scientific investigation, perhaps the true culprit will be identified and the false accusations against Natsuhi will be lifted. However, in this closed-off Rockinjima, the police will not arrive for all eternity. In other words, the real truth will not be revealed. Inside this cat box that will never be opened, false charges that everyone accepts are worth no more or less than the truth. Their aim is most likely to use the simple murder of Hideyoshi to give the impression that Natsuhi is the culprit, before moving on to the first Twilight's reconstruction, which has more uncertain elements. It's not good at all to move forward with the Game Master suspecting us. We should take the initiative. Sure. Lady Lambda Delta, as you are well aware, a fair number of murders were committed during the 5th game, and we are skipping the rather lengthy chunk of time from midnight until the early morning. Skipping to Hideyoshi's murder and stepping backwards and forwards in time will only lead to confusion. It is my belief that we should follow events chronologically and in order, though the decision is yours, of course. Objection. In the process of prosecuting the culprit, chronological order has no significance. Objection. Furuto Erica is trying to mix up the chronological sequence in order to create a false impression of the events.
While I'm not a fan of confusing things myself, I accept Beato's claim. Erica, start with the first Twilight instead of jumping to the second.
Sorry, I'm just adjusting stuff. Okay.
I definitely saw Erica click her tongue.
So it would have been like...
Yeah, I guess. So, this is a way of telling Rockinjima's tale. I was guided by Virgilia, met Beatrice, reached the peak from which you can see everything below you, and finally understood the truth of this world. This is that thing you were talking about earlier, Virgilia. What thing?
Yes, that's right. Truth is very fragile in this place.
As long as each side makes its own claim, different truths can exist at the same time. Yes, this really is a trial. Both sides put forth their own truths. This here truly is the Brawn Tube trial that Virgilia wants to use as an analogy. Then
The Brawn Tube.
The Brawn Tubes. Then I will follow Lady Lambda Delta's orders and start from the first crime at the first Twilight. As you know, at 12 o'clock on October 4th, on the first day, following a short break in the family conference, Natsuhi left on her own, saying that she was going to bed early. Therefore, her alibi is completely lost from that time until next morning.
The culprit is Ushirumi and Natsuhi because Natsuhi is the only one without an alibi. Oh, is that so? I believe there are several people besides Natsuhi who have dubious alibis. Unless you can clear suspicion from all of them, I cannot allow you to call Natsuhi the culprit. We cannot conclude that Natsuhi is the culprit as long as there are other people without alibis.
Whoa.
Well, the claim has been made that Natsuhi was the only one lacking an alibi between 2400 and 1 o'clock. This is being used as a basis for claiming that she is the culprit. However, as long as the following possibilities exist, it is impossible to conclude that this is the case. Was the crime also possible for Battler, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Nanjo, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Goda, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Kumasawa, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Genji, or Kraus? Was the crime also possible for the people in the mansion besides Natsuhi? Is it possible George and the others were actually just playing dead? Is it possible that there was a way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge Erica was in? Is it possible that the crime was committed before 2400? Is it possible that the crime was committed after 3 o'clock? Is it possible that the crime was committed outside the time span of 2400 to 1 o'clock? Is it possible that someone in the mansion committed the crime between 2400 and 3 o'clock?
Huh. That's a lot.
Sure. If Erica's gonna call Natsuhi's suspicions so confidently, she's first gotta show that everyone else has an alibi, right, Burn?
Let's see what Furuto Erica can come up with to crush all those questions. Yes, of course. Erica will explain that perfectly. The culprit is Ushirimi and Natsuhi because we will prove that everyone else has an alibi.
Of course, my master. In that case, I would like to explain things in order. Let's forget about Genji's murder for now and focus on the crime in the guest house. For this case, you'd like to suspect the servants who were in the guest house, right? On that night, Goten and Kumasawa were there. Isn't that right, you two?
When she turned to face the direction where those two were seated, those two wax models alone came back to life. They probably weren't even granted souls until they were allowed to speak. In that case, it would have been better if Natsuhi's soul could have disappeared as well. Natsuhi, who was in the defendant's chair, kept her soul the whole time and was constantly hanging her head, looking nervous. Goda hurried to his feet and answered Erica's question. Yes, that is correct. On that evening, I was alone in the guest house servant room.
Well, look at my age. Staying up all night would be a heavy burden, so I returned to the waiting room in the guest house and went to bed right away on my own. Yes. Doesn't that mean Goda and Kumasawa have lost their alibis? Kumasawa claims that she was sleeping alone in the waiting room. Goda claims he was alone in the servant room. Either of them should have had enough time to go to the cousin room and commit murder.
Nonsense! Why would we do something like that?
That's right. How could I ever kill someone?
We cannot conclude that Natsuhi is the culprit. After all, was the crime also possible for Kumasawa, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Goda, who was in the guest house? Natsuhi said it all. Both Kumasawa, who was sleeping alone in the waiting room, and Goda, who was alone in the servant room, are in the exact same situation as Natsuhi in her room. Both of them have lost their alibis.
Have no fear. I guarantee that neither of those two are murderers. First off, following dinner, Kumasawa left the mansion with me and the others and went to the guest house, entered the waiting room, and slept until morning. It's the same for Goda. Once he finished with his job, he chatted with us in the lounge and went to sleep afterwards. Neither of them had the opportunity to commit murder.
So, we're finally here. I see it's time for me to stand up as well. Your turn is over already, Erica. Go summon that bodyguard you rely on so much. Beato glanced at where Delanor sat on the second floor audience seating. However, Delanor just stared back with those usual expressionless eyes. Repeat it. We have absolute proof of Goda and Kumasawa's alibis. We refuse. Why give a hint to an enemy? There's no way we'd answer. Aha! Did you hear that, Lady Lambda Delta? They say they have no proof. How could they claim that Goda and Kumasawa have alibis without proof?
Good point. What do you say, Burn? Erica, how can you claim that Goda and Kumasawa have alibis?
Fall back, Erica. My opponent is Delanor over there. A mere human like you can be no match for a witch.
No, there's no need for Delanor to step forward. In fact, it's precisely because mere human will defeat a witch that the illusion of the witch will now be denied. So, go ahead, use the red and blue as much as you like. I'm ready for it, okay?
In response to Erika's challenge, Beato smiled boldly yet gracefully and slowly stood up. And they glared at each other between the floor and the balcony. Goda and Kumasawa have no alibis. The two of them were in the guest house and could have reached the cousin room to commit murder at any time. Unless you can deny that possibility, you cannot treat Natsuhi as the culprit. Beato's blue truth struck out rapidly. The curtain had finally dropped and the battle had begun. A human like Erika can't use any red. How could she turn this around without calling Delanor?
Though Erika cannot use it, her master, Lady Burncaster, can. We mustn't let her guard down. Your truth valid. What do you do, Burn? Will you and Delanor step in instead? It is still not my turn. It is not Lady Burncaster's turn either.
Yes, that's right. There's no need for us to show up for something like this. This is important precisely because a mere human like Furuto Erika will defeat you, Beato. Because you will be defeated by a human, we'll all know that the fake witch who calls herself Beatrice the Golden is nothing more than a subhuman phantom.
If you really could do that, it would be totally entertaining. Very well, Erika. Let's see what you've got.
Explaining it for the first person, Kumasawa is extremely simple. Kumasawa, stay.
Yes?
Kumasawa, from the time you went to bed last night to the time you were informed of the crime in the morning, did you ever leave the waiting room?
No, I was sound asleep until morning. I really was.
The truth is, after dinner last night, I had a chat with Ava and she told me something very interesting. I tried that out myself.
And what exactly is that? You don't mean...
That's right. It's what cornered and sealed Kenzo in his study. I learned that you can create a seal by putting something between the door and the frame.
You remember? You remember
The door...
when I...
Oh, like a fucking receipt?
Like a piece of tape with a signature on it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, remember...
I remember that. I forget who
opened the door or something.
Opened the door.
And
it was on whose door?
And it broke.
Kenzo's?
It was on Genji's. Genji's door.
Genji's door.
At the murder, when they went in to find and Kanon found him murdered, there was a piece of tape on Genji's door with a signature on it, and he broke it.
Yep,
Which
Kanon
means
broke
that
it.
since the tape had been put on there, no one had been in. Yeah, that's It was Erika who put it there.
It was what?
Erika.
How do you know?
Because she just said it.
Oh, I didn't know. What? Wait, I fucking missed that. Alright, whatever. Are you kidding? Did she actually do that to Kumasawa's waiting room?
I looked out within the guest house, so there's no obstacle to our having been capable of that.
After all, it was an unsettling night, and a massive amount of gold had just been discovered. Many sorts of crimes might have occurred. Where there is a detective, there will be a crime. I foresaw that some kind of crime would take place, so I used this to seal away people whose alibis might otherwise be lost.
Erika held a small folded piece of brown paper high in the air.
After I watched Kumasawa, who returned to the guest house with me, say goodnight and enter the waiting room, I used this to seal the door. Then, in the morning, when the crime was discovered and caused a big uproar, I immediately went to check Kumasawa's waiting room, where I confirmed that the seal was still set. Therefore, I can prove Kumasawa's alibi.
Kumasawa has an alibi.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh, get wrecked. One question. Ha ha ha.
Good. A wonderful alibi. Not a single gap. Kumasawa returned to the guest house with Erika, went to the waiting room to sleep, and never left the room until morning. In other words, after Kumasawa returned to the guest house, she never went to the second floor until morning. The proof Erika had shown was elevated by Burncaster and became red truth. This truth, which had become red, could no longer be overturned, even by Beato. In other words, in that instant, Kumasawa's perfect alibi had been absolutely guaranteed. Ho-ho! Then what about Goda?
Goda holed up in the servant room right after reaching the guest house. I sealed him up the same way. Then, when Rosa returned at 1 a.m., I happened to notice her when I stepped out into the corridor. I let Goda, who was still in the servant room, know this. At that moment, the seal was still in place, so from the time we arrived at the guest house until 1 a.m., Goda never left the servant room. And afterwards, he was with me in the lounge until 3 a.m. And after 3 a.m., I was on the second floor, so I can guarantee that Goda did come up to the second floor.
Erica's seal proves that Goda was holed up in the servant room until 1 o'clock a.m., and Erica has proven his alibi from then until 3 o'clock a.m., since she was passing the time in the lounge with him. And Erica has also proven that he never set foot on the second floor until the morning after. In other words, after Goda returned to the guest house, he never went up to the second floor until morning. Goda has an alibi.
Hey, that's 2 questions.
Battler, Nanjo.
Battler, Nanjo, Genji,
Kraus.
and a bunch of other ones. All
The
having to do
truth
with
valid. Well done, Erica. The alibi due to your seal on that door has been acknowledged by Byrne and elevated to the status of red truth.
Is that just copy-pasted text?
What do you mean?
I think you literally just copied what she said previously and
No.
just doubled it.
No.
No?
No, that hasn't been said before.
Okay.
Like, scroll, like when?
Like right after they got Kumasawa safe. Confirmed Kumasawa's alibi.
I immediately went, therefore I can prove Kumasawa's alibi. And then Burn Castell says, good, a wonderful alibi. Oh, no, they did not say. Lambda Delta didn't even say anything at all.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah.
Weird deja vu or something like that. Thank you very much, my master. I'm the detective. I may be human, but I can use the red truth despite that and surpass humans.
So now you claim to have surpassed humans. It's 1,000 years too early for you to talk like that, conceited brat.
Yeah, stupid Erica. It'll be a pain to have you try anything funny, so I'll make this clear now. In fact, I should have done this in the beginning. I apologize for being so roundabout. This is a situation around the guest house at 12 o'clock. The gold was found, an emergency family meeting was called for, and Balor went to the mansion with the relatives. The 3 cousins, Dr. Nanjo, Goda, and Kumasawa remained in the guest house. I have already explained Goda and Kumasawa's alibis. George, Jessica, and Maria were all playing cards in the cousin room. I actually joined them for just a little bit, and I clearly witnessed that they were alive at that time. My master, I ask that you repeat this.
Yes, I'll respond. At 12 o'clock in the guest house, George, Jessica, and Maria were alive, and in the second floor cousin room. Oh, that gets rid of one of the questions too.
Oh.
Because one of the questions was, could the murders have taken place before 12?
Oh, yeah.
Nanjo, Goda, and Kumasawa were on the first floor. And since there's no need to hold off on it anymore, I'll confirm that all the victims so far are dead. George, Jessica, Maria, Rosa, and Genji really are dead. How could they be playing dead with their necks sliced open like that? No murder occurred before midnight.
Nice.
We guarantee that George's group is dead.
Okay, yeah, so they weren't playing dead. And that's
Yeah.
another one.
Oh yeah, they're getting these questions out of the way. Oh no.
Yeah, it's going fast. Thanks for repeating that, my master. If we hadn't made these things clear, you might have started going on about how they were already dead before it guaranteed everyone's alibis, or that they weren't actually dead at all.
Gah! Unsurprisingly, Beato's side couldn't get away with the simple plan of claiming that the victims were only playing dead. But in order to overcome Goda and Kumasawa's alibis, it should have been possible to suppose that the crime occurred before those doors were sealed. However, the opponent had predicted this move perfectly. It had been shown in red that the crime did not occur before the time period covered by Erica's alibis.
Got it. That's the last time the victims were confirmed to be alive. I wish you'd said that in the beginning. This means we can ignore everything that happened before midnight.
To go even further, at midnight, Natsuhi, Kraus, and Genji were in a corridor on the second floor of the mansion. All the remaining people were at the family conference in the dining hall. Of course, at that point in time, no murder had occurred. Genji was also alive. We confirmed that those thought to be inside the mansion at midnight were indeed inside the mansion. Addendum, it has already been shown that none of them left the mansion before 1, excluding Natsuhi.
This isn't something Erica observed, but we can't move the game forward without settling it. Very well, I'll acknowledge that red truth.
Thank you very much for that red truth, my master. Massa.
Since Erica had
Give
been
me
in the
some more
guest
cream
house,
corn, master.
it was only natural that she could explain the situation there. However, since she hadn't been in the mansion at the time, explaining the situation over there would have been extremely difficult for her. Beato would normally have attacked there with the blue truth, saying that the people in the dining hall had all agreed to keep the same story, that someone snuck out of the dining hall, that they might have committed murder in the guest house. However, because Byrne had instantly settled that matter with the red text, Beato had completely lost her chance to strike back. Damn it. Very troublesome to think we would be put at such a disadvantage. This is almost the exact opposite of Riche's fights with Battler. In fact, the situation might be even worse than it was back then. At a glance, the fight between the two of them resembled that this is Battler.
At a glance, the fight between the two of them resembled our previous fights. However, there were some vital differences. The first was whether or not Beato was the Game Master. The Beato who fought against me was the Game Master, so she knew all the truth. That's why she was able to use the red text at will. However, the current Beato isn't the Game Master. She's just a single piece on the game board. In other words, even Beato doesn't know the truth. So you could say that Beato is now in the same position I once was. Also, though Erica may seem to be in the same position I once was, the situation for her is totally different. She's connected to the witch called Burncaster. Even though she isn't the Game Master, she's capable of elevating Erica's statements to become red truth. Because of this, Erica can use the red truth, even though she's neither a witch nor the Game Master. Beato, who's supposed to be the witch, possesses no red truth, nor red she can use. And yet the detective, Erica, can use the red truth. The advantage has completely flipped over to the other side. Perhaps you could say that the current Beato is in a much worse position than I was when I fought with her. After I got used to the game, Beato stopped responding to my demands that she use the red. But in the beginning, she would respond to almost all of them, giving me quite a few hints. That's why we were able to fight on par. However, Burncaster is different. She fully understands the rules of this game and is prepared to corner Beato without even a hint of restraint. And because of this, I knew. In the past, Beato went easy on me so that we could fight on par with each other. Yeah.
This has become quite an amusing fight. I see, so I must fight from the position Battler once stood in.
Beato.
In the past, I've insulted you and called you incompetent. I can handle much, much worse than this. It's now impossible to suspect Goda and Kumasawa. You can't win by arguing that point any longer. Yes, let's switch to a different approach. The next in line would probably be Nanjo. He was also in the guest house. Nanjo was in the lounge with Erica. However, I believe the time periods before and after that have been left open. That's right, I'll strike there. Nanjo, you were relaxing in the first floor lounge of the guest house with Erica and Goda, right? Was the crime also possible for Nanjo, who was in the guest house? Yes, I was with Erica the whole time. And during what time was this? From 1 o'clock a.m. to 3 o'clock a.m.
Yeah, that's right. It was the period between 1 and 3. Dr. Nanjo Goda and I were relaxing in the lounge. Repeat it, my master.
Now they have to prove that the crime didn't happen after 3 o'clock, and then that's two
After
more
3
down.
o'clock,
Because that
and
proves
Nanjo-
that Nanjo couldn't have done it. I'll respond. From 1 o'clock a.m. to 3 o'clock a.m., Marika, Nanjo, and Goda spent their time in the lounge on the first floor of the guest house. Though she had flat out refused to repeat what Beato told her to, she responded to Erika's demand immediately. The red truth was starting to corner Beato. She grimaced as though in pain, but she still struck back with the blue truth. No, perhaps she really was in pain. Now that the characters apart from Natsuhi have had their alibis established, the illusion of the witch is also being denied. Beato perceived the denial of her existence as pain. Even so, he shouldn't have an alibi for the time period before and after you were in the lounge. It was possible for Nanjo to commit the crime too.
That's right. I get that Nanjo was in the lounge with Erica from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, but what about before and after that? What about that, Erica?
Yes, first the alibi before 1 a.m. This is no problem at all. I played cards with the cousins in the room until 12, and then I went downstairs to the lounge where I met Dr. Nanjo.
That's right. At 2400 hours in the middle of the night, I met Erica after she came down the stairs and spoke with her. Learning that she was quite the connoisseur of the mystery genre, I realized I'd found a kindred spirit.
When I went to the library to solve the epitaph's riddle, I noticed that there were several original copies of famous foreign mystery novels stored there, so I wanted to discuss them with the actual books in my hand. We moved to the library and were talking the whole time, constantly until we moved to the lounge.
Cramped though it was, that book storage room in the guest house was stocked well enough that it was fair to call it a small library. In it were several famous foreign mystery novels that Kinzo had once taken a liking to. Of course, they were all originals and in English, but English was no problem for either Erica or Nanjo. For this occasion, they had borrowed the key to the library one more time from Goda in the servant room. At that point, Erica checked the seal again and, of course, reset it. Damn her. Even though she keeps it sealed for anyone else to enter or leave, she alone enters and leaves whenever she wants.
I see. So from 2400 until 3 o'clock a.m. when you went to sleep, you were with Nanjo the whole time.
Why does she say 24 and then she says 3 o'clock a.m.? What? You don't need to say a.m. if you're using a 24-hour clock.
Guess not,
Because
because it's 24. But then other people could get confused to be like 3 is at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m.
No,
But
it's
24-hour
not.
clock.
Yeah.
No. Some people get confused.
Well, not if they know that it's a 24-hour clock.
Yeah, but if they're not constantly reminded it's a 24-hour clock, then they're
Well,
just
they
gonna
should
forget.
know because it says like 24 o'clock right before.
Look, do not underestimate humanity's stupidity, okay?
Okay.
Just don't. You don't want to go there.
That means Nanjo's alibi is the most rock solid of them all.
What about afterwards, though?
Afterwards, what?
After 3 o'clock, what? Nanjo doesn't have an alibi for after 3 o'clock. And they haven't proven that the murders didn't take place after 3 yet.
I guess they haven't. Oh, is it Erica now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that's his exact. My master repeated.
I'll respond. After 2400 hours, Erica was with Nanjo the whole time until 3 o'clock a.m. At midnight, the crime in the cousin room still hadn't occurred, so this way, an alibi had been established for the period before the time they were in the lounge.
After that, we walked out of the library and into the hallway at 1 a.m. When we did, we just happened to bump into Rosa as she returned. I then told Goda about that. I figured it was probably a servant's responsibility to welcome in a guest.
Goda asked if he should bring a towel, but Rosa refused. She quickly headed up to the second floor. At this point, Erica, Goda, and Nanjo gathered together and decided to have a drink.
Their alibis in the lounge up until 3 o'clock a.m. have already been proclaimed and read, so there are no problems there.
Let's continue on to after 3 a.m. This is Dr. Ninja's alibi after we split up. At 3 a.m. Battler returned and the people in the lounge went their separate ways. Dr. Ninja, Battler, and I went up to the second floor. I then said goodnight to Dr. Ninja. At this time, of course, I put a seal on the door to the doctor's room as well. And it went unchanged until the crime was discovered. I flew out of my room at the same time as Battler screamed, and checked to see that the door to Dr. Ninja's room was still sealed. Therefore, Dr. Ninja's alibi is perfect for both 1 and after 3.
Ninja has an alibi.
Damn. Why not?
Why is that good?
Because then we can try and see if it actually is Natsuhi. Maybe it is. I don't fucking know.
Splendid, Erica. Both your seal and your red truth are perfect. Nanjo had the alibi of being with Erica until 3 o'clock a.m., and he didn't leave his room after 3 o'clock a.m. until morning. Erica made use of the seals on the doors and was granted red truths from Burncastle one after another. For Battler...
For me... Oh, shit. For me, demanding that Beto repeat something had been about maneuvering and tactics. But it's totally different for Erica. For her, it's like having a trump card that can make red whenever she wants. This concludes the proof of alibis for all suspects in the guest house. Any problems?
I do have a problem, and that problem is...
You're fat and stupid!
Beato racked her brains to find some point to latch onto, but Erica's red had been ruthlessly perfect. There was no point she could take issue with. Beato kept thinking hard, trying to fault Erica on something, but her expression was so wrought with desperation that anyone could tell by looking.
Beato's complaint is rejected. I can't sense any problems at all. It's totally pop, cute, and perfect. Alibis for all humans in the guest house have now been proven.
Wait a sec, Erica. Are you trying to leave me out of this?
Battler, shut the fuck up. You haven't even joined the game yet. You're not supposed to be here.
Battler's gonna be here if he wants. Ushimi Battler also should have had the chance to commit a crime.
Well, he was in the room with...
After all, I was in the same room as the victims all night.
Except he got there at 3, so if they can prove that it happened before 3, then he can't be the culprit.
I mean, he could wake up in the middle of the night and kill everyone.
No, because
not before 3.
3
No.
Yeah.
Only after 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna let you skip past this part while ignoring me. Question mark, exclamation mark. At that time, an arrow twisted like a golden snake and hit me. It didn't pierce through me, but it slapped me hard on the cheek like a whip.
Battler, your right to speak has not yet been recognized. There you go. You see a dude, they tell him to shut the fuck up.
Ow, damn.
You can't talk yet. Be warned.
Damn it.
Yeah, I understand, Battler, and my apologies, forgive me. Erica, you still haven't shown an alibi for Battler. Battler is the man who is sleeping alongside the victim. Shouldn't he be placed under suspicion more than anyone else? Was the crime also possible for Battler, who was in the guest house?
No!
No. It's not. I've decided.
Beato's right. You can't go skipping Battler like that.
My apologies. I had completely forgotten. He is so forgettable.
It was completely Beatrice's idea to not forget about Battler. She came up with it all on her own.
Yep.
It's not like Battler had to say anything, otherwise Beatrice would have forgotten too.
Yep.
But that doesn't even make any sense since Battler wasn't even here.
Whoa.
After Battler returned at 3 o'clock a.m., you went up to the second floor with him, and I believe you also went to your own room and slept. You may have gone to the cousin room at 24 o'clock, but I don't think you went there after 3 o'clock a.m. Will you now claim that you went to crawl into Battler's bed later on? Well, if you say you were looking at Battler's sleeping face all night long to confirm his alibi in the cousin room, then I'd accept it, right?
Yes, I listened to him breathing in his sleep all night long. Got a problem with that? What?
What?
Erica, that's creepy.
She's a pretty good detective.
Or maybe she's just super creepy. Fruto Erica can prove that Battler returned to the cousin room at 3 a.m. Then he went straight to bed afterwards, and that he went that he went straight to sleep. And I can prove that until he woke up, noticed the gruesome situation the room was in, and let out a scream. Nothing happened in that room. So you have no need to worry. Battler isn't the culprit. He's just the charming first discoverer who entered the murder scene without realizing it was one and slept until morning.
That's insane. It shouldn't be possible for you to prove that with those seals you love so much. How can you prove this?
That's ridiculous. At that time I entered the room alone. Erica probably went into her room too. How can she say something like that as though she saw the whole thing?
He never said he saw it. The room Erica was assigned to, where was it located?
Erica, please tell me, how can you prove so much about Battler?
I'd expect no less from a true detective. Isn't that a TV show, True Detective?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. Sounds like a dumb TV show though.
It's all about Fruto Erica.
It's just Fruto Erica. Just alone. Just trying to solve mysteries. Mm-hmm. These baked beans are too baked. My room was right next to the cousin room. There was only a single thin wall between them, and I listened to Battler and the victim scream all night long.
You don't mean you put your ear against the wall to check what was happening in the cousin room?
Yes! My ears are perfect. Right after Battler entered the room, I put my ear against the wall and checked to make sure nothing strange happened.
You said you could prove that nothing happened until Battler let out a scream the next morning. You don't mean...
Yes. I put my ear against the wall and listened in on that room until morning without sleeping a wink. That's crazy.
Yeah. Everyone was stunned into silence. She put her ear against the wall, and for the entire time until morning, she listened to what was going on in Battler's room. Just what would that have looked like? Until dawn, she had killed her breathing in a pitch-black room, clinging to the wall shared with the cousin room, like some kind of creepy venomous spider clinging to the wall of a darkened room. And that's probably also how they're going to prove that the murders didn't happen after 3, because she didn't hear anything at all.
Ah, yes.
So it must have happened while they were all down in the servant room, or whatever, the guest room, servant room, whatever.
if she had her ear to the wall the entire night, then I guess she never heard anything, then...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Berncastel alone was grinning in triumph. Due to the progression of the game, I realized that Battler, the one who would receive the head's ring, would be a key player. I was sure that Battler would be a victim of the first Twilight.
Yes, so just as my master told me to do, I put my ear against the wall until morning without a wink of sleep, checking to make sure that nothing unusual happened.
Erica has a photographic memory, and her hearing ability is on par with a tape recorder.
What? That makes no sense.
It would have been What do you mean? What do you mean that makes no sense?
Whatever.
It means she can remember.
No. I know what the photographic
things
memory
that she
is, but
hears.
her hearing ability is on par with a tape recorder.
Yeah, it just means that she can remember things that she hears.
Oh. Cool. Wish I could do that.
It would have been impossible for him to deceive Erica's ears, either to kill George and the others or make those wounds on their throats. It was impossible for Battler to commit the crime.
Alright. We're just munching through these questions.
It's an accepted power of the detective's authority. I have no choice but to acknowledge it. I'll confirm it in red. Ushiro Battler returned to the cousin room at 3 o'clock a.m. and fell asleep. After that, until the discovery of the crime, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary happened in the room. In other words, it was impossible for Battler to commit murder or damage the corpses.
Gah. The red from the pair forced Beato to show an expression of considerable anguish. It was only natural. Those red truths not only guaranteed Battler's alibi, but a number of other things as well. First off, it meant the murder was impossible for anyone after 3 o'clock a.m., and since the cousins were confirmed to be alive as late as midnight, the time period of the crime automatically became between midnight and 3. That meant the alibis for all people who weren't in the guest house before 3 o'clock a.m. had also been guaranteed automatically. It is impossible for the crime to have occurred after 3 o'clock.
Hey. See you later. Question. Wrecked.
That one hurts. A lot. After midnight, Erica was in the guest house the whole time, so it should have been difficult for her to prove alibis for all of the people in the mansion. It should have been almost impossible to prove alibis for Ava and the others, but now all she has to do is prove that they never visited the guest house between midnight and 3, and she can prove those alibis. Anyway, we'll have to construct it so that the murders were possible before 3 o'clock a.m., and we have to prove that it was possible for one of the people in the mansion to do it. The people who had been in the guest house all had alibis. The crime didn't occur before midnight. The crime couldn't have occurred after 3 o'clock. In other words, there was no way for the murders to happen unless someone from the mansion committed the crime between midnight and 3 o'clock. Is it possible that someone in the mansion committed the crime between midnight and 3 o'clock? In order to protect Natsuhi, she had to establish that it was possible for someone other than Natsuhi to commit the crime. Ironically, the witch had to prove that a human had committed the crime.
Weird. Still, this is getting pretty difficult. Until 3, Erica was in the lounge, and you have to pass through there to reach the 2nd floor. In other words, she's practically like a manager for the guest house 2nd floor.
This tactic may be a bit overused, but if it was possible for Kinzo to jump out the window, then maybe. But if it was possible for someone to go up to the 2nd floor without Erica noticing, we should be able to prove that the crime was possible for anyone.
It's probably possible for a human to climb up to the 2nd story window if they wanted to.
Could there possibly be a way to reach the 2nd floor without passing through the lounge Erica was in? Of course, Beato had also thought of striking back that way, and Burnt Castell must have thought this as well. Because automatically Burnt Castell red-truthed the heck out of it.
Whoa!
Battler and Anjo go to Kumasawa. We realize that the crime was impossible for all these people in the guest house. However, what about the humans in the mansion?
As I've already said, and as my master has even proclaimed with the red truth, I was in the lounge on the 1st floor of the guest house, and to reach the 2nd floor one must pass through the lounge. In other words, it was impossible to reach the 2nd floor without me seeing it.
And what if that wasn't possible? For example, what if someone placed a ladder against the outer wall of the guest house and snuck in through a 2nd story window? There must be a way to reach the 2nd floor without passing through the lounge. That way it would be possible to reach the crime scene without you seeing it. Beato finally struck back. Before now, she let Erica take total control and attack her with the red over and over. During that time, Beato's counterattacks with the blue truth had been few in number, even including this one.
Of course, I knew you'd try saying that. I couldn't have my lookout in the lounge become meaningless. So first, I must prove that my lookout was perfect. First off, because of how the guest house is constructed, it's impossible to reach the 2nd floor without me seeing it from the lounge. There are no places undercover, nor are there any physical or mental blind spots. Mental? What the fuck? My master, repeat it.
It is impossible for someone to reach the second floor of the guest house without anyone in the lounge noticing it. Though of course this only refers to reaching the second floor from inside the building.
Good, my master. That there might be a way to reach the second floor from the outside. This really is a problem. After all, there are trees that could probably be climbed, and someone could use a ladder. Even crawling into the ring, but it can't be ruled out as impossible. But I can't let you do that.
Oh, you won't let me? And how's that? Did you stay up all night circling the guest house? No, you couldn't do that. You were in the lounge, and then you had your ear against the wall all night. From the lounge, you can only see a small part of the outer perimeter through the window.
That's true. I could prevent all methods of climbing up to the second floor from the outside. However, I was able to prevent all entry to the second floor.
I had already foreseen this move. How terrifying that she would be so persistent.
Because of how the guest house is constructed, the windows are the only method of entry from the outside to the second floor.
Did she put the fucking checks on the windows too, so that if someone opens a window,
God.
the window hasn't been opened.
Oh,
They put all the windows a piece of paper.
I have tape on all the windows. The locks. Wait, shit. The lock's not important at all. I only had to prove that none of the windows or shutters were opened even once. After I witnessed the location of the hidden gold, I returned.
Don't tell me you used that seal of yours on all the windows of the guest house. In that weather, dressed like that?
Well, I did have my swimsuit from when I drifted here. You're insane. Yep. Yes, she is. At a house where you were welcomed as a guest, you did something like that in the middle of the rain, even though nothing had happened yet.
For a normal human, that would have been an action so suspicious as to be completely impossible. In fact, I would assume that Erica was the culprit at this point, if he was a normal human. However, she is the witch's piece. In the middle of all that rain, Erica sealed all the windows from the outside, to create an alibi showing that no one could have snuck into the guest house from the outside. She climbed up the wall herself and did that to all the windows on the first and second floor. No, to all things that could possibly have permitted entry. Although after hearing that she listened to the cousin room all night long without even sleeping a wink, this new bizarre action didn't seem quite so impossible. This had probably also looked like a venomous spider. A disgusting spider crawling over the outside guest house wall during a storm. You... Just what do you... think of the Zushiromiya family? Is this how you repay us for welcoming you as a guest?
To a detective, the Ushimiya family is nothing more or less than the stage upon which the crime occurs. Before the outbreak of the crime, it was important for me to memorize the names of the characters, memorize the layout of the lane, and prepare for the upcoming crime by devoting my time towards collecting and effective detectives who don't prepare anything before the outbreak of the crime are pretty third rate. After all, we all know that someone will die.
Before the outbreak of the crime?
Yeah. I guess all detectives are crazy.
Yeah,
They
I
just-
guess so.
After all, we all know that someone will die. We all know that someone will die whenever we spend the night. What? So why do you spend the night anywhere?
Oh, well, they gotta live, I guess.
Fuck.
Furthermore, at the time the crime was discovered, Erica confirmed that none of those seals had been broken. I guess it's kind of like, Sherlock Holmes. Every time he goes somewhere, something happens. Scooby-Doo, every time they go anywhere, it's a mystery. There's a mystery to solve. Yeah. So they should know that this stuff is going to happen. I guess that's what she's saying. Furthermore, at the time the crime was discovered, Erica confirmed that none of those seals had been broken. That's why Erica wasn't the first one to reach the cousin room when the corpses were found. Even without inspecting the corpses, she could be certain of several things thanks to the Red Truth. It was more important to check the seals and construct alibis.
Master's perfect. All I did was prove everything perfectly by following my master's orders.
Well done, Erica. My double, my piece. What do you think, Lambda? Doesn't this prove that Erica's lookout in the lounge contains absolute reliability as far as constructing alibis? There's no way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge. Okay, only 5 questions left. Less than half of all the questions that were originally.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
What's going on with these?
I acknowledge it. Erica, your seal is perfect. I'll acknowledge it in red. It was impossible to reach the second floor of the guest house without passing through the lounge, and impossible to reach it at all without Erica, who was in the lounge, knowing about it.
Thank you very much, Lady Lambda Delta. So you know what's coming next, great Lady Beatrice. Therefore, the time of the crime is limited to the single hour between midnight, when they were confirmed to be alive, and 1 a.m. when our party in the lounge started.
Ooh. I'm Maria. Ooh.
What? Oh, I get it.
Well, yeah, that's what Maria
Yep,
says
that's
all
what
the
Maria.
time.
Yep.
It's her little, in episode 4, you find out that it's her chant to always be happy with her mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
But it doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Well, yeah, it doesn't work, but...
No.
Oh well, she tried. Ooh, gah. Ah.
I've already said, but at midnight, I went down to the lounge, hit it off with Dr. Nando, and was engrossed by a discussion of the mystery genre in the library until 1 a.m. It's a bit embarrassing, but I grew so wrapped up in that discussion that I wouldn't have noticed it if anyone had passed through the corridor during that period. What? Quite a regretful mistake for a detective.
After doing all that maneuvering and setting up seals to guarantee a perfect alibi, she became too engrossed in a mystery discussion and left an opening. Her relaxed smile was completely shameless, the total opposite of her words. It almost seems like it's the other way around. It's enough to make you think that this was an intentional trap, to make it clear to all that only Natsuhi didn't have an alibi between midnight and 1 o'clock. In other words, oh shit, yeah.
In other words, it paradoxically means this: the only ones who could have reached the cousin room and committed the crime are those characters who have no alibi between midnight and 1.
So that means the murders happened between midnight and 1.
Yeah. Why did it happen between midnight and 1? Why couldn't it be midnight to 3?
Well, because Erica would have seen anyone who went up between 1 and 3.
Right. Okay, I get it.
Except for when she was in the library with Nanjo.
Library with Nanjo from midnight to 1.
From midnight to 1.
Yeah.
That's the only time that someone might have gone past.
Mm-hmm.
Her eyes clearly hinted that Natsuhi was the only one who fit this description. It is only possible for the crime to have occurred between midnight and 1. It should have been a crime whose time and location were completely unknown during that long night, but because of the alibis Erica had constructed, it had been limited to the time period between midnight and 1. Erica left the cousin room at midnight. That marks the last confirmation that George and the others were alive, and after the party in the lounge started at 1 o'clock, it was impossible to reach the cousin room by any method. Damn her, and from a mere human. This is quite bad. The night has been sealed up into an hour, and at this rate, there won't be many suspect pieces left. Damn it, Lady Berncastel. Nicely done. Unlike Battler, I'm not an idiot. After watching this game 5 times, I've gotten more than enough cards in my hand.
Then, let us continue. Let's examine the alibis of the remaining suspects, the people in the mansion. After all, we only have to worry about the single hour between 2400 and 1. That shouldn't be difficult at all. Let's start with midnight. At this time, Natsuhi, Cross, and Genji are on the second floor corridor, and all the others are in the first floor dining hall. This has already been shown by my master's written.
Yeah, that's right. At midnight, Natsuhi, Kraus, and Genji were in the corridor on the second floor of the mansion. The rest of them were in the dining hall on the first floor. And as you know, there was a mysterious knock, and a letter with the one-wing seal on it appeared. The discussion surrounding that continued on until 1 o'clock. I will say it with the red truth. Of all the people in the dining hall, not one of them left the dining hall until 1 o'clock a.m. Excluding Natsuhi, Kraus, and Genji, none of the people in the mansion left the mansion before 1 o'clock.
Damn.
Since the possible times for the crimes had been limited to between midnight and 1 o'clock, the adults in the family conference who were confirmed not to have left the mansion between midnight and 1 o'clock all had proven alibis.
Damn.
And how do you intend to prove that? Erica's in the guest house. Did someone prove it by using one of your favorite seals on the dining hall door? You have no convincing evidence or proof. Yeah, well, what about Battler? Battler was there the whole time.
Yeah.
The red truth is simply truth, and there is no need to provide evidence, proof, or room for a counter-argument. You made that rule. This overbearing red truth hadn't only given alibis to the adults in the dining hall, it also gave alibis to Shannon and Cannon, who had come to serve tea, and even guaranteed that they never left the dining hall. In other words, the only ones who didn't have proven alibis were these 3, Natsuhi, Kraus, and Genji. No, there were only 2 left. If Kraus and Genji had their alibis proven, it proves that no one but Natsuhi could have been the culprit.
Let's do Genji next. He's a victim.
This is where she's gonna talk about the tape, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
He's a victim, but you can't deny the possibility that he committed the crime in the cousin room and was then killed himself. And furthermore, though he was in the second floor corridor at midnight, he then returned to the server room to transfer the phone call for Natsuhi and was completely isolated.
Was the crime also possible for Genji, who was in the mansion? Which means it was possible for Genji to commit the... I'll say it in red. When Genji finished transferring the call, he immediately returned to the waiting room. That's just a cold, hard truth, without any evidence, proof, seals, or alibis. Got it?
Then, at 1 a.m., there was another break in the family conference and Rosa returned to the guest house. At that time, I'm truly thankful for your cooperation. Ushiyumi and Ava, please rise.
Oh, did Ava put the tape there?
Erica wasn't the only one, okay? I was also certain that something would happen that night. She's the person who taught me how to make those seals, and she helped me to check the alibis of those people under suspicion. During the break at 1, I went to Genji's waiting room and used the same seal as Erica. In other words, if that was broken, it would mean that no one entered or left the room between 1 a.m. and the next morning.
The murder of Genji is also limited to the span between midnight and 1. Jesus.
Now, Cannon and Kumasawa, please rise.
Cannon rose expressionlessly and Kumasawa got to her feet timidly.
In the moment, you two went to wake up Genji, because he had slept in, right? And at that time, you noticed the door was sealed. Broke the seal and opened the door, correct?
Yes, I thought it was some kind of prank.
I didn't think deeply about it at the time.
I'm not asking for your opinions, just give us the facts. Did you break the seal and enter the room?
Oh, we just said yes. Are you
Yeah.
listening?
Were you
Yeah.
listening? I rest my case.
With the red truth, I'll guarantee that Ava, Kanon, and Kumasawa's statements just now are the truth. At 1 o'clock a.m., Ava sealed Genji's waiting room. And that seal was broken by Kanon and Kumasawa in the morning when the crime was discovered. This'll be a pain, so I'll add on some more. During the short break at 1 o'clock a.m., the first two to leave the dining hall were Rosa and Ava. Until Ava returned, everyone in the dining hall remained there. After seeing Rosa off, Ava went to the waiting room and sealed it. Of course, she did not enter the room at all at this time.
This is all information gathered from the people involved. It isn't a red truth without a basis. It's a truth due to proper reasoning constructed from testimony. Not only testimony, but the limits of scientific investigation such as collecting fingerprints were used here. What? After all, Kenzo studies a treasure vault with all kinds of chemicals. I obtain all sorts of results to create an ultimate truth, infinitely close to a red truth. This isn't a science mystery, so I'll spare you the details.
As Erika swaggered around the cathedral, she arrogantly touted her scientific knowledge. She had thorough knowledge of all the chemicals in Kinzo's study and had used them to conduct a scientific investigation, which had now been acknowledged and made into a red truth by Berncastel. She didn't explain the details, but she had obtained results that were convincing, even without the red truth. Collecting fingerprints with aluminum powder. Component analysis of the mud under someone's shoe and various chemical reactions from the clinging rainwater. Erika just walked into someone else's study several times and used several chemicals however she pleased, all without asking the family's permission.
How inconsiderate.
However, no one could fault her for this.
Well, I just did.
The pieces couldn't hinder any action the detective might take for the investigation. That's the power of the detective's authority. You act like you own the place. From now on, I'll tell everyone I meet, if someone claims to be a detective, never welcome them into your house as a guest.
That's probably a good idea. Giving shelter to a detective is just about the worst omen of misfortune out there.
Because of this, it has been proven that it was only possible to reach Genji's waiting room and commit the crime between midnight and 1 o'clock a.m. So they're trying to say that Natsuhi had a real busy time between midnight and 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she has to kill Genji.
Kill Genji.
And also everybody
kidnap-
who's in the cousin's room in the guest house.
Yeah, maybe even kidnap her own husband. I don't know. Who knows?
And furthermore, by Erika's investigation, it has been proven that it was impossible for Genji to reach the cousin room. Yeah, what if Kraus did it, though?
Then Kraus could do it. It's possible.
Yeah, it had already been made clear in red that, after transferring the phone call to Natsuhi, Genji had gone straight back to the waiting room. And because of Erika's scientific investigation, further red had been added, saying Genji never left the mansion after midnight. Because of this, it's been made clear that Genji couldn't have reached the guest house, much less the cousin room. Genji has an alibi.
Well, good for Genji. 2 left. Oh my god. This is getting narrowed down.
1 left.
What do you mean? There's 2 left.
Well, one of them is, could Kraus have done it? And the other one is, could anyone in the mansion other than Natsuhi have done it?
Yeah.
And if it proved that Kraus couldn't have done it, then that also proves that no one other than Natsuhi could have done it.
Oh.
So there's 1 left, really.
Now on the crowd.
Since we're trying to, they're trying to prove that Natsuhi did it.
Yeah, I know.
Now only Kraus and Natsuhi remain. Everyone else has had their alibis proven, haven't they?
Impossible! Natsuhi's mouth flapped open and shut like a suffocated goldfish.
Jesus.
And that's an accurate analogy. Natsuhi's mind was blank and spinning out of control, and she felt as though she really would suffocate. Ushiromi and Natsuhi, I'll give you one last chance. Confess that all of the crimes were the work of your husband.
Fool! Do I look like the kind of woman who would falsely accuse her husband?
Beato, Natsui's denied it. I'll give you the same chance. You understand, right? Or wait, don't tell me. You aren't going to take advantage of the fact that Kraus is missing and try and pull a devil's proof on me, are you? Was the crime also possible for Kraus, who was in the mission?
Mission.
Gag! Beato realized they were rapidly approaching the end of this battle. Normally, Beato should have been able to argue against these alibis of Erica's in several ways using the blue truth. However, all of those alibis have been accepted by Burncastle and Lambda Delta as red truth, and Beato no longer had any room to argue.
It's like those wishes are distorting things so that they match with the plotline Erica's drawn up.
Well, that's okay, because you can't even talk right now, Badler. Shut up. That's right. If the Game Master or Lady Lambda Delta accept the truth, its authenticity will not be questioned. The world that comes after will be formed based on the final remaining truth. This happens no matter how far this final truth is from the real truth.
There's no way Uncle Kraus is the culprit. He's being held prisoner somewhere. Wait, we can't deny the possibility that Aunt Nancy was skillfully tricked into believing that during the phone call.
Do you suspect Natsuhi and Quel's, Badler?
Well...
Erica's truth has been constructed in a cowardly fashion, but it is a proper truth. Though the witches did conspire with her, it has still been acknowledged as the red truth. In other words, it cannot be fake truth built solely on lies. This means that even Erica's truth is supported by logic. The truth about Natsuhi and Kraus being culprits is also very possible. Even if it's a mixture of truth and lies, it makes sense logically. It's a mixture of truth and lies that is just as valuable as truth is. Which of those two truths will you believe? That is up to you to decide.
No. I'll trust Aunt Natsuhi and Uncle Kraus. I realize they're in some money trouble. But even so, I don't want to believe that they're the culprits. No, I can't believe it.
On this game board, where the red is steadily cornering Natsuhi, how do you intend to let her escape?
I don't know. However, I seriously don't want to give up. Aunt Natsuhi was just caught in a cowardly trap. Erica's reason is falling for that trap completely. So whether it's intentional or she's being manipulated, Erica is aiding the true culprit. Erica's accused Aunt Natsuhi of being the culprit, but even if everyone here believes that, in fact, for that very reason, I want to be. If everyone believes it's her, will that become the truth? If everyone accepts a lie, will that become the truth? Must an honest person be dragged up to the guillotine all alone and taunted by liars? I don't like it. If no one else will believe in Aunt Natsuhi, then I will. The real truth isn't something that's determined when everyone accepts it. It's something you find after thoroughly investigating both possibilities. So this trial is a downright lie. This trial exists for no reason other than to set Aunt Natsuhi up as the culprit.
Beato is doing all he can to plead Natsuhi's case, right?
Wrong! Beato is trying to refute Erica's argument. She's just defending. You can't fight in this trial by simply resisting all of your opponent's claims. This is why Beato always cornered me in the past. She isn't gonna beat Erica by finding flaws in her reasoning. She has to find a different truth and show Lambda Delta, the commander of this game, that her truth is more correct than Erica's.
Can anyone create a truth where Natsuhi isn't the culprit without violating the red truth that Lady Burncastle has shown?
I don't know. But as long as I don't believe that Aunt Natsuhi is the culprit, there's got to be a different truth. It's even okay if the culprit for the crime was a witch. That's better than having Natsuhi be framed by incorrect truth.
So, no matter how much red truth you are shown, you won't believe that Natsuhi is the culprit, correct?
Yeah, for all things, there should always be some people who believe and some who don't.
What if
No
you
matter-
see a red truth that says Natsuhi is the culprit?
Yeah, then I guess you kinda have to believe it, or else you're stupid. No matter how much evidence is stacked up against her, someone has to believe that she's innocent. There must be several truths in the world that cannot be proven with evidence. I don't ever want to accept. How can you be sure that there's nothing on the backside of the moon if you've never seen it? Is there some reason that you have to believe it? Until you see the back of the moon with your own eyes, you can deny neither the possibility that nothing's there at all, nor the possibility that there's a thriving culture of space bunnies.
Why would they be hiding on the other side of the moon?
'Cause it's space? Duh.
That's what all planets with life on it. We just can't find the life because the life is always hiding on the other side of the planet.
Yep, it's not like planets rotate or anything like that. Nope, that's not how it works. You should never assume something is truth until you actually check it. This court is a malicious thing, trying to force a single interpretation on truth that cannot be checked. I believe there was a civilization on the backside of the moon, but that was in elementary school, and I was made fun of and laughed at. So I thought it was embarrassing to think that a civilization lived on the moon, and I threw away that belief. I've been told by a book that my mom read to me that rabbits lived on the backside of the moon, so I believed that for a long time. When everyone said it was wrong, I abandoned that truth without even trying to check it. Without evidence, I abandoned the truth I believed in. And now, everyone is starting to believe that Natsuhi is the culprit, even though no decisive evidence has been shown. Even without evidence, Erika's words sound reasonable, so they're probably the truth? Is that why you're throwing away your belief that Natsuhi's innocent despite a lack of proof? If no one else will believe, then I will. I believe the real truth only appears if you look with both eyes, one denying and one affirming. No matter how much she tries to make us believe that Natsuhi is the culprit, I believe she isn't. I won't abandon that belief.
Understood. Then I will give you just a single red truth. I will give this single bit of power to you. Natsuhi is the culprit! Now that you possess the will to fight in the truest sense.
Power?
By the name of the finite witch Verdelia, no, as the former witch Beatrice, I will grant you this red truth. Uthiromi Natsuhi is not the culprit!
Damn.
A plea bargain. If you acknowledge that Kraus is the culprit, Erika will suspend her pursuit of Natsuhi. From then on, the investigation will proceed, assuming that Kraus, whose location is unknown, is the culprit. Oh, well that's not good either, because Beatrice is trying to get the attention off of both of them, because she doesn't want Kinzo to be discovered as being dead. That's what Beatrice really is trying to hide here.
Damn.
What do you do, Beato? At this rate, Natsuhi is in serious trouble, right? Will you accept the plea bargain? If you're willing to abandon this Uchiromiya family honor thing, Burn will be kind enough to let you get off with a draw, okay?
Kraus is currently missing, and it's unknown whether he's alive or dead. Like Kinzo, he's no different than a cat in a box that has disappeared in the mists of the island. A cat inside a box is unfixed, and no interpretation of it can be denied. It is the root of endless interpretations, the true source of the Endless Witch's power. In other words, no matter how much Berncasto claims that Kraus is the culprit, she can't make that the sole truth. In other words, the Kraus culprit theory and the witch theory can be in almost perfect balance. It would mean making the game a draw. This was cajolery, offering her a second chance if she abandons the honor of the family she swore to protect, and consents to a fragment that stomps all over that honor. There's no room for false competence. For Beato, to lose is to die. In this game, she should always choose a draw unless she has an overwhelming advantage.
I won't allow you to treat my husband like the culprit. My husband is the successor to the Ushiromiya family headship, the only person who will inherit the glory of the Ushiromiya family. I will never let you treat him like a criminal.
Are you sure, Natsuhi? If you refuse to suspect Kraus, then you'll be the only one left. Alibis have been proven for everyone else. In other words, Hempel's Raven. Even without any evidence, it will be determined that you are the culprit.
And if I'm the only one left, what then? I am Ushiromi Natsuhi. I will not run or hide. I am innocent, and I am the representative of the noble head with the one-winged eagle engraved into my heart. If you wish to insult me, go ahead. If you wish to ridicule me, do as you please. No one can damage my honor with a mixture of truth and lies.
With a dignified voice, Natsuhi stated her case openly before the witches above her. However, this response of hers might have been exactly what Berncastel had intended. Natsuhi refuses the deal. And you, Beato? You understand, right? The instant Natsuhi is specified as the culprit, Lando will make her verdict. As soon as that happens, the illusion of the witch will be denied, and you'll disappear into the mist. Do you plan to let Natsuhi's foolish bragging drag you down to the depths of hell? Man, Battler's gotta come in. When's Battler gonna be able to talk? He's got the red truth. Battler's got the red truth that'll save Beato.
Oh god, Battler getting ice cream. Oh god, he's not here.
Well, he's there, but he can't talk yet.
No.
Gah.
Riche, you fought well. This is our chance. Convince Natsuhi and try to work out a compromise.
Both Lady Lambda Delta and Lady Berncastel have boredom, not you as their true enemy. They probably want to have this game repeat and play some more. If they see that you're willing to make a concession, they will most likely accept it gladly and move on to the next game. If we move on to the next game, then what will happen to the Natsuhi of this game, the Natsuhi of this fragment?
Now isn't the time to be worrying about that, right?
Natsuhi is just a piece. But isn't Beatrice just a piece here? Because real Beatrice can't even talk.
This Beatrice is the one.
Yeah, they've assembled all of the pieces from the game board here.
Even if she gets removed from this game, she'll show up again in the next one.
But that doesn't apply to you, milady. I believe you know what Lady Berncastel plans for this game. It's a more realistic goal to make use of that and aim for victory in the next game instead. Accepting Lady Berncastel's deal might be our one and only good option right now.
Throw away that useless pride of yours. Neither Kasparov nor Deep Blue won every game.
Isn't Deep Blue that computer? That played chess? The chess-playing computer.
I don't know the name of the computer. I know that there is a computer that does play chess.
I think that was called Deep Blue, but I'm not sure. Who's Kasparov?
Yeah, who is Kasparov? He sounds Russian.
Yeah, I bet you they're Russian.
The person that wins more games wins in the end, right? If a witch gets too attached to a single match, a single life, a single piece, that witch dies.
My apologies. But I cannot do that. I know the strength of a man who believed even though everyone said he was wrong, and I know the suffering he went through when he was forced to abandon that belief. There are people, buddies, on the other side of the moon.
I knew it.
I will not abandon Natsuhi. Why? Because if everyone else suspects Natsuhi, then someone has to believe in her. Because truth can only be found in the gap between those who doubt and those who believe. I won't abandon her. Even if everyone believes that Natsuhi is the culprit, I will still claim that I, the witch, am the culprit. If I can't even make that claim, my existence isn't worth anything. I cannot lose. The truth isn't something anyone gets to deny. Only when you doubt and abandon it yourself does it disappear. Is that your answer, Beato? Yeah, of course I refuse. Ushiromiya Kraus is not the culprit. Ushiromiya Kraus is not the culprit.
Damn, dude, damn. One more left.
Well, what other people were in the mansion besides Natsuhi? Whose alibi hasn't been proven already?
I don't know.
I think that's already done, that other one.
Fool. I won't let you take that back, okay? Here's what you get for being a quick-tempered moron.
By the name of Burn Castell, Witch of Miracles, I speak with the red truth. Ushiromiya Kraus is not the culprit, and he was killed long ago, shortly after you heard his voice over the phone. Get it?
No! Well, looks like Kraus has been dead for a while.
So she hid in the closet for no reason.
Yep.
No! Dear! Well, now that she knows he's dead, she's got no reason not to tell them all about the man from 19 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would help.
Yeah, it'd give her some points.
But I guess, I think that... Well, I guess all the witches know about those scenes, and they're probably acting like those scenes aren't real. They're like magic scenes.
Or it's just like they don't matter.
What do you mean?
They don't matter to the case.
They would. They would definitely matter.
Oh, yeah.
That they would... If those are real, then she's not the culprit.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Burn Castell's cruel and ruthless red blade gouged Natsuhi. It was totally merciless. Natsuhi had been crushed with uncertainty, not knowing whether Kraus was alive or dead, but she had still been capable of believing that he was alive. And now that hope, that expectation had been crushed, without any chance for a miracle. She had thrown herself into this trap out of concern for her husband's safety. She had now lost her daughter and husband, and everything she had gained since marrying into the Ushiromiya family. No, even after all this, one thing still remains. If her husband has been lost, then right now she is the last person who can protect the honor of the Ushiromiya family. She still couldn't let it end here. Even wrapped up in so much sadness, Natsuhi would do all she could to protect that honor, with this final bit of strength.
Nope, it's all over. It's been determined with the red truth that none of the remaining people in the dining hall left that room until 1 o'clock. In other words, alibis have already been proven for everyone except Natsuhi.
Everyone in the mansion besides Natsuhi is an alibi. See, that's what I was saying. It's already been answered. I don't know why they didn't take it out at the same time.
Dramatic effect, probably.
Oh, yeah.
The last one.
Except we have a red truth.
Red white teeth. Gross.
We have a red truth that says that Natsuhi didn't do it.
Then, what?
She didn't do it. She didn't do it. No, no.
Well done, Eric and Burn Castell. You've fully proven that the crime was impossible for everyone except Ushiromi and Natsuhi. Why don't I start reading loud from the verdict? At midnight on October 4th, 1986, the defendant Ushiromi and Natsuhi left before the others while pretending to return to a room to sleep and murdered George, Jessica, Maria, Rose, and Genji one after another during the 1 hour period before 1 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus Christ.
Ugh.
What the fuck was that?
I don't even know.
Was that a thunder noise or what?
Oh no, I just breathed.
It sounded like, because she just got done reading the thing and then I clicked and then I heard that. It sounded exactly like thunder and I was like, holy fuck.
Whoa, insane creeps.
Let me tack something on. Due to circumstantial evidence, include the murder of Kraus.
Yeah, that's right. In this situation, it's unthinkable that anyone except Natsuhi could kill Kraus. Revision to the verdict. During the hour before 1 o'clock a.m., Kraus, George, Jessica, Maria, Rosa, and Genji were killed one after another. It's only possible for any of these murders to have taken place between midnight and 1. The only person without an alibi during this time was Ushiromi and Natsuhi. From this point forward, the defendant will be treated as a true culprit. Furthermore, because it has been fully proven the crime was possible for humans, Beatrice, Endless Witch, this court of illusions hereby denies your existence.
Damn.
You'll be given a chance to plead your case, but can you prove an alibi for Natsuhi, or can you prove that it was possible for someone other than Natsuhi? If you can do that, Natsuhi will stop it being one shade short of absolutely guilty, and the denial of your existence will be put on hold for this game.
If Natsuhi had an alibi, Beato would have shown it long ago. In fact, wasn't the whole point of that trap to make her lose her alibi? Even if her alibi is not proven, I will believe in Natsuhi's innocence, no matter how much you try to pin your fake truth on her. I am the true culprit. Natsuhi is innocent. even without any proof.
The truth is known only by the master of the night on this island, Beatrice the Golden. I am Ushiromiya Natsuhi. Now that my husband has passed away, I am the head of the Ushiromiya family. My determination will not bend no matter how you try and humiliate me. Why, you ask? It is because Father gave me permission to engrave the family crest of the one-winged eagle into my heart. How do you intend to disprove the existence of this honor with your evidence and your alibis? You cannot! The Ushiromiya family crest engraved into my heart is immortal.
Now that Natsuhi and Beatrice had practically been placed on the guillotine, they cried out with all the strength of their determination. However, that did nothing but bring a cold smile to Lambda Delta's face. Erica had constructed a truth that Lambda Delta could accept, and no one could construct a more convincing truth to deny Erica's. In that case, the most convincing truth would swallow up everything else and become the one and only truth, even if it happened to be different from the real truth. The truth of those in the past is swallowed up by the truth of those in the future. This can happen even for a mixture of truth and lies as long as everyone acknowledges it as true. Sheesh, stop howling already. I like it best when witches sob and beg for their lives when they're about to be burned at the stake. When they try and bluff like you do, it's such a killjoy. In that case, I guess I'll send you one final gift. A red truth to smash that bluff wide open.
What do you mean?
Stop it, Lady Burncastle! Hasn't it already been overwritten with the truth you wished for? That truth and Natsuhi should be able to coexist? Please don't defile it. Please. Please. Natsuhi, when did Kinzo ever say it was okay for you to engrave the one-winged eagle into your heart? Those were just the words of the Kinzo from your delusions, weren't they? You know, the real Kinzo? Not once in his entire life did he ever trust you from the bottom of his heart, and not once did he ever consider letting you bear the family crest.
Correct.
When that heartless announcement was made, Kinzo stood up.
Natsuhi, you need not listen to this. No one can defile the crest engraved in your heart. That is yours alone. Don't let your pride as the final family head be forgotten forever. Natsuhi!
Oh, man. Just shut up and disappear, you miserable delusion of Natsuhi's.
That's crazy. It's confirmed.
None of this is even real. She's just in a mental asylum.
You cannot erase me. You cannot erase my soul. Not as long as the crest is engraved into Natsuhi's heart.
That's enough, you lying illusion. The real Kinzo wouldn't say that. Disappear. You, the illusion of Kinzo inside Natsuhi's mind, beautified by Natsuhi to suit her own purposes. A bright red flash of lightning smashed Kinzo over and over again as he screamed. I guess the red lightning was the red truth.
It disintegrated everything.
Then he crumpled like a doll and sat back down in his chair as though nothing had happened. The fierce emotion had left Kinzo's face. He had truly become like a wax model. And so, he would never again share kind words with Natsuhi. That's right, the true Kinzo never once trusted Natsuhi during his entire life. The true Kinzo never once considered allowing Natsuhi to bear the one-winged eagle, because of course, Kinzo had already vanished before the start of the game. The Kinzo that appears in this game is nothing more than Natsuhi's delusion. Every part of this Kinzo, who believed in Natsuhi and entrusted her with protecting the family honor, was a phantom, created by Natsuhi. Pitiful woman, you will now face the truth that you never gained Ushiromiya Kinzo's trust as long as he lived.
What? What?
Natsui, don't cry. Kinzo entrusted the Ushiromiya family to you, right? No, he didn't. Not only did he not entrust her with that, he never even said hello. Or met her gaze even once.
Damn.
Jeez.
He was invisible to him.
Natsui's cry was a mixture of sadness and many other emotions, and it echoed throughout the cathedral. Natsui could no longer stop her tears, some last faint element that had cheered her up until today, that had allowed her to endure as an Ushiromiya, as the wife to the head's representative and as the final family head, had been torn to bits. Natsui no longer had anything left. Natsui could no longer allow herself to even call herself an Ushiromiya. Those difficult days, those painful days. Those days where she still gave everything she could for the family she'd married into despite it all. The very few happy days among these. All of these flitted through her mind, one after another. And disappeared. All of those once beautiful memories were then crushed by Bernkastel's red truth, smashed to bits and scattered, plunged deep into her hands and smeared red with mournful blood. It was the red of sadness and truth.
That is all. Just because the crime exists as it does, this level of reasoning is possible for Furuto Erika. What do you think, everyone?
Lambda Delta clapped. Then, a bit later, Bernkastel also clapped, looking pleased. The expressionless, wax figure-like audience followed suit, and the unshakable verdict was welcomed with a great applause. And so, the truth of this tale was decided.
Not so fast. Oh, you're a little bit too early.
Right now, no humans exist on this island except for those in this parlor, and with one exception, it has been shown that none of them have committed murder, and the culprit is among these people.
Whoa, in that case, it's conclusive, isn't it?
Unless the culprit is a witch who committed murder with magic, that is.
It was you? You killed George, killed my husband. Why?
I didn't kill anyone. I didn't. In a panic and with a voice that was far from calm, in a manner that was, to put it coldly, unsightly, Aunt Natsuhi denied the suspicion placed upon her. However, there was no longer any way around it. She stood up, brushed back her long hair, pointed at Aunt Natsuhi, and said it one more time.
You're the culprit, Shirumi Natsuhi.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Red-faced and tear-streaked, Ava walked up to Natsuhi and grabbed her by the collar.
Kissed her.
Then wordlessly she slapped Natsuhi's cheek. Natsuhi, who had never been slapped in her life, was shocked by the taste of iron which she was feeling for the first time. It turned into a scuffle between Ava and Natsuhi. Battler immediately tried to stop them, but Ava planted a sharp knee into Battler's gut and he doubled over.
Like a bitch. Give them back. Give back George and my husband. Why did you kill them? You murderer.
Sobbing, Ava kicked Natsuhi, who had fallen to the ground over and over. Battler tried once more to cut in and stop them, but he was brushed aside. And after that, no one tried to stop them. Repeating her son and husband's names over and over, Ava kicked Natsuhi, and kicked her. Then she started grabbing whatever her eyes fell upon and throwing it. Natsuhi was hit with a steaming teacup and a can of black tea whose tea leaves fell out all over her. She was kicked, her hair pulled and dragged up. Her cheek slapped so many times that it started to swell. No one tried to stop it.
Must
It
be,
wasn't
must be a pretty unsightly scene.
Yeah. It wasn't because they were worried about Ava kicking them too. It was because they thought that bitch deserved it. It was because they thought an appropriate act of retribution for a person who had lost her beloved son and husband. A proper retribution. Just like Elliot Rogers' Day of Retribution.
Oh my god.
A
Fucking
proper
Elliot Rogers. Damn you.
Elliot Roger.
Elliot Roger.
Yeah, R-O-D-G-E-R. A proper truth. Everyone in the parlor accepted that Natsuhi was the culprit. They accepted the truth Erika claimed.
And Battler never said anything.
So it became a proper truth, and Natsuhi was designated as the proper culprit. She had already lost the husband and daughter who might have protected her, and even Kinzo, who should have given her a final bit of strength, had already vanished like a bubble in a fucking beer that goes to the top and vanishes in an ocean of illusions. No longer would anyone protect her, no longer would anyone believe her, so she was now the true culprit. Ava's shoulders heaved with her heavy breathing. Apparently her anger still hadn't been abated. Erika patted her shoulder and made Ava take a step back. Of course, this wasn't to protect Natsuhi from violence. It was to further humiliate Natsuhi, now that she had been branded as the culprit.
Natsuhi, I've solved 2 of the 3 riddles. The who-done-it and the how-done-it. The final riddle, the why-done-it, must always be confessed by the culprit herself. Please follow the rules of the mystery genre and confess. Follow the rules of the mystery. If this was a third-rate mystery, you would let out a high-pitched laugh about now, confess to the crime, and start telling the story of her sad past. Don't tell me you intend to make me explain that part as well.
I am not the culprit! Someone believe me! I just had my husband taken hostage, was threatened, and fell into a trap!
Natsuhi, with her hair a mess and her face red and tear-streaked, protested to everyone, but no one met her gaze, because it has already been resolved that Natsuhi was the culprit, because Lambda Delta had acknowledged that the culprit of the tale was Natsuhi and had woven it that way. None of the pieces would pay any heed to Natsuhi's, to the culprit's words. Natsuhi isn't the culprit. I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. I am the one who commands Rakajima's night and who has reigned since long before the time you were all still scared of the dark. Why can't you just call it my sin? Why must you protect Natsuhi? Acknowledge me! I committed all the crimes. There's no way a human is the culprit! The illusion of the witch had already been crushed and Beato's voice didn't reach anyone. The verdict had already been made. Everything had been decided.
No one could hear you. You're a phantom, a mere illusion. Go back to being a simple portrait. You're a faint phantom of a witch born when Kinzo shared his illusion with his relatives. That is the truth chosen by this world. So, great Lady Lambda Delta, now is the time for you to bury the ridiculous and foolish illusion that the witch claims is the truth.
Goodbye, Beatrice. I made you a witch expecting that you'd either become my friend or help distract me from my boredom. And you've answered to my expectations. The second one, that is.
I am a witch. Even if Lady Lambda Delta doesn't acknowledge it. I'm a witch.
Oh, sure, but you wouldn't even be capable of believing that if I hadn't become your guardian in the first place. Yep, this is game over for you. You'll be buried in accordance with the rules of your game board. What happens to the losers in your game again?
Beato has already shown that clearly in a previous game. You get made into a mound of living flesh before being tossed into the goat's dinner party and getting chewed to bits. Now there's a fitting end for you, Beatrice. And I did come all the way here just to hear the death cries of one as haughty as you.
It's lunchtime.
One by one, a massive number of goat attendants slipped out from the shadows of the pillars and began to fill the cathedral. The goats paid no attention to Natsuhi, who was seated in the center, but the crowd completely enveloped her. From Beato's point of view up on the balcony, it probably looked like a huge boiling pot of goats. Heh. That's right. The contract has been like this since the beginning.
Yep. Our contract said that whenever you stopped entertaining me, you would relieve me of my boredom with your life. Come, strip the title of witch from this woman and throw her into the pot of goats.
Suddenly, there were goats standing right behind Beato. They lifted her up roughly. Let me hear some nice screams. You're the wine I've been fermenting all this time. Then perhaps refusing your request will be my final strike back at you. Yeah, I made her say it. Ooh, ha ha ha! The best screams always come from a girl who's just said some tired line like that. Fall, Beatrice! The goats carrying Beato no longer viewed her as their master. After holding her above the pot of clamoring goats, which were snorting heavily in anticipation, they threw Beato's slender body into the air. All at once, the squirming goats faced the heavens and raised their arms. It was almost as though they would be able to forget their pain for just a short while by devouring her flesh. As she flew through the air, Beato tried to smile boldly, but it was so stiff that it seemed even more pathetic, much to Burn Castell's amusement. When Beato fell into the pot, the goats caught her. Of course they didn't do it gently. The arms of countless goats pulled at her flesh to keep it for themselves. They tried to tear her to bits. It didn't have to be flesh. Hair, fingernails, shoes, even bits of her dress worked just fine. The mouths of those goats were the gateway into hell. However, Beato was too big to enter into that gateway, so they had to chew and tear her into bits small enough to fit into it. Beato let out a bold laugh. She laughed from inside the pot of goats. However, her expression was very different from the one she had wanted. It was an expression not of a witch, but of a single human yelling in her death throes. Then the sea of goats parted. Delanor leapt forward, slicing all the goats in her path with a single flash of her longsword. It was a clean slice, like cutting through butter. The goats were surprised by Delanor's sudden appearance and stepped back. In the center, Beatrice cowered in tatters, sobbing.
What's this supposed to be, Delanor, Inquisitor of Heresy?
My apologies, but I have something to say. There is someone who has an objection to this ruling. His name is Ushiromiya Battler. All of the goats stared at Battler. What is unsatisfactory about the court's ruling?
Do you possess any new evidence or truth sufficient to request a retrial?
Gah!
I get it. Delanor's offering me a helping hand. If she had jumped in here, it'd all be over. And now I fully understand how I'm supposed to fight. But because I understand how, I am unable to fight right now. After all, I can't win by simply countering Erica's truth. If I want to deny your truth, I'll need to present a different one. And I still don't have a clue what that truth is.
There is nothing that is not healed with time, and there is no truth that cannot be reached if you spend enough time searching. However, all trials have a limited time in which the truth must be decided. Therefore, a truth that cannot be reached within that limited time cannot become truth.
Yeah, I know that. By now everyone's assuming that Natsuhi is the culprit. I might be too late now, even for the real truth. Any of his violence will probably go unstopped, and no one is even thinking about protecting Natsuhi. It's no longer a situation where we can say, oh, the truth will eventually be found. And in this world, the time remaining to expose the truth is very short. It's already midnight at the game's end. The police won't come. The truth won't be revealed. Only the truth decided upon here and now will remain. And Battler doesn't say anything. I slowly stood up. walk in front of Beato and face Flannel. I have no plan. I don't know the truth. However, if I don't jump in now, I won't get another chance to fight. The red used by Erica's group is mercilessly strict. I seriously know that I can put together a truth where Natsuhi isn't the culprit without avoiding that red. Bye.
Why the uncertain face? How pathetic.
Damn it.
The Battler.
I'll be the one to kill you. I want to keep that promise. And yet, right now, I don't have any plan at all.
That's okay. In this world, there is no truth. The truth is made later on and overwrites what comes before it. Real truth doesn't exist anywhere.
Wait.
Now, this is a splendid scenario, Delanor. It just wouldn't be interesting unless a knight appears before the princess's execution. And there's nothing better than watching heads roll before your very eyes. Erase the old piece and the unneeded player all in one go.
As you wish. Glory be to the great Lady Berncastel. I am the head inquisitor of heresy, Delanor A. Knox. Step forward, Ushiromiya Battler.
Nothing to lose. Nothing more to lose. If you want to see me struggle, I'll show you. The only reason Erica's theory is so strong is because of those seals. She was given red so quickly just because limited enough to easily spot the alibis created by those seals. But the seals aren't red truth. Just sticking paper in the door crack is far from perfect. There's no way something like that can prove anything with certainty.
In, Battler, ready to let those goats turn you into a pile of meat along with your beloved Beatrice?
Oh, and I'll mix the leftovers from your precious sister into that pile. Wouldn't that make for a wonderful stack of meat? Then we can wrap it up in a dumpling, steam it, and maybe add some soy sauce.
No, the best way would be to fry them in a pan with some eggs and ketchup.
Damn it! Can't doubt the reliability of the seals of Erica. Something like wedging with some paper in the door can't create a perfect outcome. It might be that someone noticed by chance and happened to put it back in the same place.
The blade of
The blade of my blue truth should have slashed diagonally through Delanno's chest. A single wound on the chest.
I was wondering what you'd throw out there, but that is ridiculous.
Allow me to explain. This is why I sealed the doors with. Did you think this was paper, Battler? Ariel once again held up in a look like brown paper. This is packing tape, and its adhesive power is extremely strong. I used scissors to make it easier to tear. Furthermore, I wrote my signature, which cannot be reproduced, in 3 places. Across the tear point, across the edge between the door and the tape, and across the edge between the tape and the door frame. Therefore, it's impossible to tear it off without leaving a mark, and it's impossible to reattach to.
Permission to unsheathe the red key.
Granted.
Due to the above, the seals are guaranteed to be perfect. Miss Erica's seals were not broken by anyone, and deception is impossible.
I'll acknowledge Erica's seals. However, Ana's seal in Genji's room should be different.
Ava's seal was of the same type as Miss Erica's. That is because this method of sealing was one that Miss Erica and Ava conceived of together after dinner.
Erica said something about a scientific investigation of fish through chemicals in Grandfather's room, right? There might have been some kind of solvent in it. If you use that, you might be able to tear off the packing tape without leaving fingerprints. authority.
Please allow me to speak. It is impossible to turn off any of the seals by any method without leaving marks. Please allow me to speak. There were no suspicious marks on any of the seals.
Therefore, it's been proven that nothing was done to any of the seals. Repeat it.
Yes, gladly. All of Erica and Ava's seals were not tampered with in any way that hindered their ability to act as seals, such as being scraped off.
Damn it! Damn it, using packing tape that leaves marks all over the place. Delanor is my only enemy. There's also her subordinates, Gertrude and Cornelia. And also Erica and her master. The one who's hijacked Rito's gate. Everyone in this cathedral is an enemy. That fierce rush of red immediately repelled my feeble truth. It's obvious why. I don't have any alternate truth. Even at this final stage, I have nothing.
Were the seals all that you had to discuss? You promised to give it everything you've got.
If I only knew a truth, I could prove Aunt Natsuhi's innocence.
Well, yeah, all that he knows is that Aunt Natsuhi is innocent.
Yeah,
He doesn't have any proof.
right.
Because
Okay.
he can't use the red truth.
Right. Okay.
Mm.
I thought he could have for some reason.
Well, he did
I thought he
in
could just like.
episode 4.
Yeah.
But I think Beatrice was giving him the power. I don't think he's been
Yeah.
given that permission.
But I thought this could like translate. You'd be like, fuck. Blue hair witch lady could say it, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, blue hair witch lady said this.
But what
but-
if she refused to say it, though? What if she refused to say it again?
So I could prove Aunt Natsuhi's innocence if I could only make a theory that weaves its way through Erica's red. Damn it, I don't know anything.
Do you have any chance of winning?
I left it at home. Mind if I go back and get it?
I have already lost. I am prepared for my fate.
I promised that I'd kill you, so I won't let anyone else do it. I'll definitely keep that promise.
Liar. I'll never trust your promises again.
Huh? When did I ever make a promise to you, and what was the lie?
After hearing you say that, hell might not be so bad. Kill us. Burn Castile. Lambda Delta.
Beata let out a shrill cry, overcome with laughter. It was a broken laugh, and tears streamed down her cheeks.
Battler's words would no longer reach her ears. She kept on laughing insanely like a broken record.
Is it over, pitiful? I truly am disappointed, Ushiromiya Battler.
Kill me, Delanor. Slice me in half with that red longsword of yours.
Let's assume that there exists some method X that can lead them to the second floor of the guest house without passing through the lounge. Erica claims that the windows and such were shielded, but she can't prove that she's sealed all possible means of entry.
You can't use that. We already know that you can't use that argument.
Yeah. There's a possibility that Erica was unable to seal entrance X because she couldn't find it.
Battler hasn't been paying attention.
No.
Nox is third. It is forbidden for hidden passages to exist. As a detective, Miss Erica sealed all entrances. Passages that the detective couldn't find are hidden passages. Therefore, there are no entrances that Miss Erica cannot find.
I present the possibility that Erica's liquid in the lounge wasn't perfect. During the 2 hours Erica spent there, she really observed everything without looking away for a second. It might be possible for someone to have passed through lounge during a small gap without at least Erica seeing them.
I think they already said in red that that is impossible. Battler needs to pay more attention.
Damn it, Battler.
Please allow me to speak. Lady Erica's lookout in the lounge was perfect. There were no small gaps or carelessness, or times when she looked away for even a second. Please allow me to speak. Therefore, during the entire meeting in the lounge, only Rosa went to the second floor.
I mean, he's just stalling.
Rosa killed everybody and then killed herself.
But was that really Aunt Rosa herself? What? There's a possibility that someone disguised themselves as Aunt Rosa. Or maybe she was actually holding a large suitcase with someone hiding inside it. Yes, Battler, yes! This is true logic.
Nox's 10th, it is forbidden for a character to disguise themselves as another without any clues. There have been no hints suggesting that someone had disguised themselves as Rosa. Furthermore, Erica has confirmed that she wasn't carrying any luggage large enough to hide a human in.
And Natsuhi is being threatened by someone. The uninvited unknown guest acts as the true culprit. How can you be sure we're the only ones on this island? The true culprit is someone else.
Because they already said that
Yeah,
in red.
they said that.
They said it in red.
Yep.
Nox's purse. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story.
Maybe they were killed with poison in a remote murder. With a strange drug that can make a cut appear in someone's neck when they die. Battler! That type of murder has a delayed effect, so even without an alibi... Battler, you're stupid.
Nox's 4th. It is forbidden for unknown drugs or hard to understand scientific devices to be used.
There's a chance that they're...
No murder device X, goddamn.
Murder device X! Yes! There's a chance that they're...
Battler's go-to every time.
Hey, man, it's kind of OP.
Yeah, no, it isn't because
It
it's
doesn't work.
too vague. It doesn't...
Yeah. But against anyone else, it would be OP. There's a chance that there existed a murder device X in the cousin room in Genji's waiting room that made a remote murder possible. It had some secret mechanism that still hasn't been discovered.
Nox's 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented.
Anyway, there exists a culprit other than an answer. If you want to deny that, try and repeat it in red that none of the appealing characters were the culprit.
Nox's 6th. It is forbidden for accident or intuition to be employed as a detective technique.
You say that everyone except Aunt Natsuhi has an alibi. You're forgetting one person. Who's gonna prove that Erica herself has an alibi? Well, that's also against Nox's rule.
Nox's 7th. It is forbidden for the detective to be the culprit.
Yeah, you know those Nox's rules.
A little bit. Unless she's caught red-handed, you should never be able to deny the possibility that Aunt Natsuhi is innocent. You can't even deny future possibilities, like if a piece of evidence X that Erica hasn't discovered proves Aunt Natsuhi's innocence.
All the evidence has been discovered.
Nox's 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented.
This tale is filled with malicious lies. The tale itself has become a trap to catch Aunt Natsuhi. The tale should be constructed only from impartial truths.
Nox's 9th. It is permitted for observers to let their own conclusions and explanations be heard.
Yes. I was the culprit, so maybe I give George and the others a slow-acting poison to make them die after midnight. then silently slit their throats when I returned at 3 a.m. I could have done it so quietly that Erica wouldn't hear.
Noxus 8. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented.
Everyone committed suicide, so there is no culprit.
Please allow me to speak. All victims' deaths were homicides.
Erica didn't personally examine the corpses, right? It should be possible for people who aren't the detective to make a mistake when examining corpses.
Please allow me to speak. Know that no examination of the corpses could have been mistaken.
Then maybe there were body double corpses. They prepared corpses beforehand that closely resembled the victims.
Know that no corpses exist except those of characters who have appeared in the story.
Then how can you claim that Uncle Cross is dead without his corpse? Doesn't it violate Nox's something or whatever?
Know that the red truth is simply truth and there is no need to provide evidence or proof.
Damn, red is overpowered.
Yeah.
What? What the? Damn it! In the face of these insane arguments, any attempt to overturn the truth wherein Natsuhi is treated as the culprit are completely meaningless. Each time I branded my desperate blue truths, Delanner and the others' red truths knocked me down to the floor. It was getting hard to even stand back up again. Does that mean my body is telling me that I'm about to surrender to the truth wherein Natsuhi is the culprit? Their red truth is getting more and more perfect. Each time I think I can slip through a chink in their armor, Delanner smacks me down with the red longsword of Nox. Beato.
That's enough, Battler. Now the endless torture that torments me, no, us, will finally end. Let us fall together into the depths.
I don't want to see Beato like this. Her Majesty is the ruler of the Golden Land. Her enthusiasm as my rival are completely gone. She's just a pitiful woman who's been trampled all over and lost all hope, with tears streaming down her face and a tragic smile that I can't bear to look at.
Does your truth no longer exist?
No, I have one. Last thing.
Oh, the one last thing.
One last
And
thing?
that is a different truth where Natsuhi isn't the culprit.
That's not it. All I can do is prove that Natsuhi isn't the culprit. After that, I can't show what the real truth is at all. But even so, maybe at least you'll be saved that way.
Why?
I can show without a doubt that Natsuhi isn't the culprit. However, I cannot show a different truth. If Erica's truth is dispersed, the crime will return to darkness, and there might still be room for you to exist.
Yeah, if you can do it. But if you can't show a new truth, that means you're incompetent and useless as a player. I'll have you vanish from this game board for all eternity.
At this point, the Game Master has landed Delta, and she is there too. This probably doesn't mean losing a single game, but being banished from this game for eternity for losing. From what the witches have said in the past, I can faintly imagine the place pieces are sent when they're banished. It's known as the depths of oblivion, an eternal darkness that lies on the far side of eternal oblivion, and where there is no concept of life or death. I'm going to disappear, aren't I? However, Bito will remain. As long as Bito remains, no matter how suspicious Aunt Natsuhi is, there will always remain space for the witch to be the culprit. In other words, room for Aunt Natsuhi to not be the culprit. As long as that space exists, someone will eventually expose the truth. It doesn't have to be big truth to pieces. I understand the time had come to abandon myself for the sake of this other person who would eventually appear. For the sake of the real truth. Well, it looks like I'll have to break my promise to kill you after all.
Don't leave me as the only one alive. I'll disappear with you. Let that be your final tribute to me. I beg you, if you just do this one thing, I don't need anything else.
Have you used up everything you have? I really am disappointed in you, Shiromiya Battler.
Quickly, perform this requiem. That way I'll have an open field in which to expose Natsuhi's sin.
These guys really are interesting. Beatrice or Shiromiya Battler.
But I've gotten tired of this. You aren't needed in our game. Do it, Delanor.
This is the end. If you still have one last bit of power, let me see you muster it now in your last moments.
It's small, but it's a sparkling red truth. The last trump card Virgilia gave me. Erica, this takes your theory back to square one. If you can, why not go ahead? Take this. Ushirimi Natsuhi is not the culprit. The red truth is simply true, with no evidence or proof needed. This will make Landor stagger, even if that's all it does. It's the first and last strike I can make. I thought he wasn't allowed to use the red truth.
I don't know, maybe he was.
What? Nox's second. It is forbidden for supernatural agencies to be employed as a detective technique.
Damn. Huh? My
Huh?
red truth, dude, was blown away by the language with
Oh, well, that was the only
Longsword.
thing he even had. God damn it.
Oh, dude.
In this court, if anyone other than witches is going to speak the red truth, they'll have to construct an appropriate proof for it.
Oh, okay, so Valor wasn't allowed to do it.
Nope.
And then, so they just were like, you can't do that,
You
idiot.
can't do that, dummy.
What are you trying to do here?
Get fucked.
Erica has been following this procedure, right?
True. Erica hadn't used the red herself even once so far. She always had Burncastle, a witch, repeat her statement.
Your red truth isn't something you obtain for yourself. It's a supernatural truth given by a paranormal being. In other words, it isn't reasoning. It's no better than a random thought.
In that case, if I have Virgilia say the same red truth, where is Virgilia? She's fucking gone. She's fucking got an ice cream, dude. She's gone.
If you are to present that red truth, you must construct an appropriate argument. Can you do that?
Oh yeah, Erica also had the whole argument to back it up.
Not just like a statement.
Yeah.
No, it's impossible. Without any basis or evidence.
See, real truth is a very fragile thing. Does real truth exist? And is it necessary? Even without it, the tale will continue on. Battler.
Come on, Battler. Prove the red you have shown. If you cannot, this is goodbye.
Then, goodbye. Sorry, Beato.
The end of Battler and Beato. Don't say that. Thanks for sticking around with me. It was such a blood-stained tale, but it was fun. The trial is now finished. Finished. Finish, 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 finished. Die the death. Sentenced to death. The great equalizer is death.
I think my computer froze. Oh no. Damn, flashing lights! Ah! I'm gonna get epilepsy, dude.
With that, the trial for the 5th game ended. The detective Furuto Erika accused the culprit, Ushirumi and Natsuhi. There are 3 riddles that the detective must explain. The first is the whodunit. Who is the culprit? As previously stated, it is Ushirumi and Natsuhi. The second is the howdunit. How did they carry out the crime? During the hour between midnight on October 4th, 1986 and 1 o'clock the next day, Ushirumi and Natsuhi went to the cousin's room on the 2nd floor of the guest house and the servant waiting room on the 1st floor of the mansion. There she carried out the murders. It is only possible for the crime to have taken place during that hour, and for that 1 hour, alibis have been proven for all characters except Natsuhi.
Whoa.
From the sky, a massive red longsword, even greater in size than the one Delanor held, came crashing down like a thunderbolt, piercing through Battler's heart and pinning him in place while he stood. In that instant, Beatrice became a golden splash and faded away, and her former minions disappeared as well. As the heartless witches looked down at the cathedral center, laughing coldly, all that remained was Battler, with the red longsword sticking through him, and Delanor. Rest in peace, Ushirumi, Battler. What a shame. I thought you were a more capable person than this. Battler blew bubbles of blood, closed his eyes slowly, and died. Delanor stared on in silence, then turned on her heels when she saw his life leave him. After that, all that remained was the corpse of this sorrowful man, pierced by the sword that acted as a massive red grave marker, and lit by the faint glow let in from the cathedral's skylight. And then, there is the 3rd riddle the detective must uncover. The final riddle. The why done it. Why did they commit the crime? The motive. In third-rate mysteries, there's no need to uncover this. After all, even if you don't expose the motive, the culprit will just confess it when it's all said and done. However, Furuto Erika was first-rate, so she would expose even this. Natsuhi was being confined in the Pawa under everyone's watchful gazes. Then Erika made use of everyone to diligently and persistently search all places, even Natsuhi's womb, for clues about her motive.
Well, now that we've all gathered, just what is it that drove us? Through my investigation, I, the detective Furuto Erika, have discovered the general outline that explains this. I would like to announce it now.
Everyone remained silent, urging her to continue. Erika tossed some of Natsuhi's possessions that had been confiscated onto the table.
First, these are past diaries that were discovered in Natsuhi's room. They have barely been used at all in recent years, but they describe in detail the period shortly after she became part of the Ushimi and Ushimi family. Most of them were locked, but in order to find the full truth behind this crime, I used my authority, which everyone has acknowledged, to destroy the locks on all of them.
How barbaric reading. Another person's diary.
Yeah, for all of it, what does that make you, murderer? A criminal like you has no right to privacy. And this is what I found from these diaries. Natsuhi ended up married to Cross due to special circumstances. I imagine that all of you here know much more about this than I do. Natsuhi and Cross were not married because of love or as a normal arranged marriage. If anything, it was more like taking a hostage. Oh, damn.
That is not true.
This is written on the 24th page of this red diary. If I am a hostage being imprisoned by the Ushimi family under the guise of marriage, however, if everything can be resolved this way. Natsuhi, right here, you've already acknowledged that you were a hostage. Kumasawa, you have served Natsuhi since the time she first came, right? Couldn't you tell me what it was like at the time?
Yes, that's correct. I did catch wind of something similar to what you describe. I think that by now only Dr. Najo and I know of the details regarding Madame's marriage.
Very true. That was during Kinzo's golden era when he did whatever he pleased. He defeated all of his enemies and expanded his financial power. Natsuhi's family was one of those enemies. As though the time to talk had suddenly come to hand, Kumasawa and Najo openly delved into territory that should never have been touched upon again. This was concerning the period during which Kinzo was most feared for his ferocity. It has been said that, though Kinzo had many assets and connections, he held a grudge after being looked down upon by members in the elite as being an upstart. Because of this, apparently, Kinzo wanted to find Klaus a wife from a noble family and use this to raise the Ushiwamiya family status. Then he overcame Natsuhi's family in a financial struggle and proposed that a marriage be performed as a method of reconciliation. And the person he picked was Natsuhi. Natsuhi had been raised to be queen and pure in a family of Shinto priests, making her a true noble lady. By choosing her, not only did Klaus cause him the worst possible humiliation, he also won what he considered to be a nice trophy. So that marriage proposal was humiliating to Natsuhi from the very beginning.
Regarding the aforementioned facts, both Kumasawa and Dr. Nanjo's claims just now matched with the contents of the diaries. Therefore, since the time Natsuhi first took the name Ushimi Natsuhi, she has held strong resentment against the Ushimi family. What do you have to say, Natsuhi? Do you acknowledge this?
All of the cold gazes turned to face Natsuhi.
Yes, it's true that I thought that at first. I thought I was being forced into a marriage without love, a hostage under the guise of a bride. However, my husband never viewed me as a mere hostage. He understood what I'd gone through and gave me compassion and affection. My husband was the only person who could understand me.
I see. That makes sense. And there are many secret scenes in your diary showing that Kraus knew of your difficulties and showed kindness. However, on page 47 of this diary, you describe these moments as being unpleasant, correct? Let me read aloud. When Kraus tries to show kindness, it only makes me feel more wretched. Sometimes I think he might even be trying to humiliate me further. Therefore, we can tell that Natsuhi repaid her husband's kindness with contempt.
Oh, wait! Yes, I may have thought that at the beginning, back when I was still overwhelmed with unease. I couldn't accept his kindness and grew to my distrust from time to time, but I eventually realized he was sincere and grew to accept his feelings.
Well, nothing like that appears in any of these diaries.
I never even wrote it down. Those feelings were so secret.
Judging by many diverse bits of evidence and testimony, it's clear that you despise your husband, and there exists no evidence that you eventually accepted his feelings as you claimed.
I loved my husband.
You can't find any testimony or evidence that can be used to elevate that statement to the level of red truth, right?
What the fuck are you talking about? Does anyone need evidence to say they're in love?
Yes! You can't trust anything besides the red truth. Statements that aren't red don't count as evidence at all, and they can't be trusted at all. All non-red letters are falsehoods that exist to deceive me. I love you. Who would believe that when spoken with a white text? No, non-red words can never be trusted. All I can trust in this world are the red truth and pieces of evidence I offer to my master to gain it.
What are you talking about?
She's fucking insane! You lying human who can't speak the truth. Humans lacking the red truth have no right to speak of love or the heart of truth or truth. Do you know? Men aren't as stupid as you women think they are. Men never really take it seriously when a woman says, I love you.
What a pitiful person. I see that you've never truly loved someone.
Romance is unnecessary for a detective, and I'm also only 8 years old. I don't think I've ever used the word romance except to explain a motive for murder.
No matter what you say, we loved each other. I should be apologizing to my husband for always writing down my complaints and nothing else. But I have devoted my heart to him. Even if I can't prove it, that is the truth.
Reject. Rejected. You just don't know when to give up, do you? You have no evidence that you love someone. By now, due to evidence and testimony, it's clear that you hated both your husband and the Ushimi family. That's right. I can't even count the number of times I've heard you complain.
Oh, and you've never talked behind Hideyoshi's back?
Damn it, you killed my husband. How dare you say that? Die and apologize to my husband. Please, cease your violence, Ava. This is now the personal raw question and convict of the cult. It's not yours, okay? It's not yours. It's my moment. It's mine. Give it to me. Well then, over the next several years, she appeared to have gotten used to her new way of life. But in actuality, an intense hatred still lurked in her heart. Taking that into consideration, there would be nothing odd at all about her deciding to take revenge.
Don't act like you know what I'm thinking.
Each time Erika read Natsui's diaries one after another, she exposed more of Natsui's emotions during those painful days. Natsui hadn't written them to leave those words behind, she had written to forget those memories and seal them away. That's why she had written down her feelings during those painful days. Locked them up and sealed them away for all eternity. However, Erika claimed that these were Natsui's true, hidden feelings that had been locked away and concealed. Since it had already been concluded that Natsui was a murderer, everyone accepted Erika's claim. By this point, the wet truth wasn't even necessary to establish Natsui's motive. As long as the reason seemed plausible, everyone would believe it. No matter how much Natsui might move, no one would believe her. No one could accept the truth Natsui spoke of, about the days she had spent loving her husband. That had been painted over by a false truth, in which she hated her husband and swore revenge against him. The pen of the gods that composes the truth had been given to Erika.
And so what? Who gives a damn about your past? Murderer. Murderer.
Stop that! I can understand how Natsui felt. I always thought this day would come eventually. Poor thing, poor thing.
I think she's just one of the pitiable victims of father's wild life.
I knew of the pain in Madam's heart. I always tried to support her, but I failed, and look what has happened.
I don't even understand the emotions of love and hate. Oh goddamn.
Canon. Of course you don't, because you're a special little boy.
Your furniture.
Your furniture.
You will someday. It can become a reason to live, and also a reason to kill.
Yes. Yes. Is that Natsui really the culprit? Well, now that you mention it, there's just one person besides Natsui that might be a culprit. What? Hey, are you serious? Why didn't you say something that important sooner? Natsui, the truth is, there's one person besides you for whom the crime's possible. If you truly claim that you aren't the culprit, it means that person must be the culprit.
Huh?
Is it Kraus?
Who is it? Who? Ushimi
Oh.
Kinzo.
Kinzo,
Shit.
god damn it.
Oh my god.
Ah!
Early this morning, Kinzo went outside through the window of the fifth floor study and his location is unknown. Isn't that right, Bala? Just like Natsuhi, Kinzo has no alibi whatsoever. The truth is, for this crime, it was possible for Kinzo to be a culprit as well. I just assumed that he never existed in the first place, so I totally forgot about him until just now. Allow me to apologize. this.
Yeah, that's kind of why everybody forgot about that.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, oh, Kenzo's
Apparently
dead.
Kenzo is still alive in belief world.
Yeah, she didn't look shy or apologetic in the slightest. Erica bowed in as unpleasant a manner as ever. She had held a grudge ever since her defeat in the study battle.
Natsuhi, you gained Kenzo's trust and are the person who served closest to him, right? So shouldn't you know better than anyone else? This incident is actually the crown of the family head, carried up by Ushimiya Kenzo.
You dare call father a criminal?
Anytime that someone else gets blamed for it, Natsui's like, no, it wasn't them!
Yeah, exactly. She's like, she can't cover her own ass for shit. Don't worry, I have prepared more than enough evidence and testimony to explain the why done if Kenzo was actually the culprit. If you say, for example, that you have put yourself on the line to cover for Kenzo's crime, I am more than capable of supporting you. Ever since the late period of the author Ellery Queen, even the theory created by the detective can sometimes change the plot itself. You really can't afford to be careless in this day and age.
I won't let you treat father like the culprit.
Natsuhi, calm down. Place your hand on your chest and think carefully. If you accuse Kenzo of being the culprit, this entire case will be resolved. You will no longer be held accountable for another person's actions, and your honor will be restored.
But Kenzo doesn't exist.
Yup.
In other words, by pushing the crime onto Kenzo, Natsui would be saved. Well, yeah, and then she could just be like, oh, he went missing, and he never showed up ever again.
Never again. Never scheme.
However,
I have been entrusted with the honor of the Ushiromiya family by father. Did you really think that I would defile father's honor, the Ushiromiya family honor, just to clear away the false accusations made against me?
of course Natsui knew that she wasn't the culprit, and she also knew that Kenzo wasn't. So being flamed herself and pushing the blame onto Kenzo were both unacceptable, unbearable outcomes.
Are you sure? As I have already established quite thoroughly, alibis have been proven for everyone except you. If you will not accuse Kenzo, then this time it really will be clear that you are the culprit, and that will become the truth, right?
If you intend to label me as the culprit and call that your own personal truth, then do whatever you like. I am sure that God knows of my innocence. Eventually he will prove it.
If it came to a choice between her and Kenzo being flamed, Natsui would sacrifice herself. Perhaps that was her way of protecting the Ushiromiya family's honor.
And that's... And I even give you a chance.
Stupid woman. This future where your name will eventually be cleared, I'm pretty sure this is Erica.
Stupid woman, this future where your name will eventually be cleared doesn't exist for any of you. Not for any of the pieces on this board.
Natsui had made her decision. If they were going to call her the culprit, she would wet them. She boldly rejected the thought of selling Kenzo's honor to gain a momentary truth where she wasn't the culprit. And therefore, the tale was woven with her as the culprit. In the future, if the accusations against her are proven false, this tale will probably be rewritten. However, that future will never come. I think. Truth is a fleeting thing. Even if I am a good person until my death, if some heartless person after my death overwrites the records and says I wasn't a good person, and if that is shared with everyone else, then even all the goodness in which I lived my life could be overwritten easily. And so I think that I won't live as a good person for all eternity.
If you claim that Kenzo was not the culprit, he will need an alibi proving that the crime is impossible for him. Otherwise, we cannot truly be certain that you are the culprit, Natsuhi.
Erica is probably known for a long time. Kenzo is nothing more than an illusion to make the inheritance problem more uncertain. However, it would be very hard to prove that he was an illusion. The only way to do this would be to confirm Kenzo's death, but as has been made known by the Wed Truth in previous games, Kenzo died a long time ago, and in this 5th game, his corpse hasn't even appeared. In a situation like this, it wouldn't be easy to absolutely prove his death. If Kenzo's death was confirmed, it would practically erase that defeat in the study. If it was the only way Erica had of removing the humiliation of that loss. And there was something that could confirm Kenzo's death almost as certainly as real proof. And that was
the confession of the culprit. It would mean having Natsuhi herself acknowledge that Kinzo no longer existed in this world. That way it would be acknowledged that Erika's reasoning in the study was correct. That loss would be painted over and it would be rewritten as Erika's victory. Bawa hung suspended by Delanor's red longsword. Beato had disappeared by having her existence denied and her minions had gone too. In this cathedral they had disappeared from, only Natsuhi and the witches convicting her remained. So, you still claim that Kinzo is alive and remains somewhere on this island?
That's correct. Father is in good health. No matter what anyone says, I will not change my statement. The red truth from the previous game says that Kinzo is already dead, but that's not enough to satisfy you, right, Burn?
Yeah, that's right. I'm after a perfect victory, so there's nothing interesting about getting a checkmate just because Kinzo's death has been confirmed by the red. I want to win by forcing Natsuhi to say she's resigned.
And why don't you try it? Show us what you've got!
My master, let us now achieve a perfect victory.
Of course. Natsuhi, you say Kinzo is certainly alive, but you don't know where he is, correct?
Yes, that's right. Father left through the window and his location is unknown. He is so troublesome sometimes.
Lambda, I'm gonna make Kinzo's location from midnight until the morning absolutely clear. From midnight until morning, Kinzo stayed in the same room.
Well, that's true. He was a corpse after all. No, I'm sorry. That's right. Totally right. I won't butt in. It sounds interesting, so keep going.
From now on, I'll use the word Kinzo to refer to the living Kinzo. After all, Natsuhi claims that he's alive. I'll say more with the red truth. Kinzo does not exist anywhere outside the mansion. Isn't that right, Erika?
Yes, my master. I searched for Kinzo all over the premises outside the mansion. However, I was unable to find him.
Because of the detective's authority, Erika could find all clues. Therefore, if Erika was unable to find a hint that Kinzo existed outside the mansion, it was the same as proving that Kinzo didn't exist outside the mansion. Therefore, Burncastle repeated that truth of Erika's. Kinzo does not exist outside the mansion. Hey, Natsuhi, if Kinzo does exist, then this means he must be somewhere inside the mansion. Do you have any idea where Kinzo might be hiding?
How could I know? After all, think of the weather. There would be nothing strange about him leaving the courtyard to hide somewhere in the mansion and dry the rain off.
From this point forward, I will repeat the same thing several times. I'll give you many chances for an honorable surrender. If you're too stubborn, you'll lose even your true honor.
No matter how you threaten me, I will not give in.
I just love teasing pieces like you. Then let us continue.
For the aforementioned reasons is unthinkable that Kinzo could have been somewhere outside the mansion. So first off, I performed an extensive search of the third floor where the study is. However, there was nowhere he could be hiding. We couldn't find any trace of Dad on the third floor. So then, where is he, Natsuhi?
I don't know. If he isn't on the third floor, perhaps he's hiding in the basement.
Yes, the basement. The boiler room, that underground storage room, every part of your suspicious basement was also included in my search. Yes, I searched too. I didn't see Father anywhere. I'll say it again. Where is Kinzo, Natsuhi?
In that case, he was probably on the first floor or the second floor.
I see. Process of elimination does tell us that, doesn't it? We then thoroughly searched the first floor. And the result?
Nothing. We were unable to find Father.
I'll say it again. Where was Kinzo, Natsuhi?
Then he was probably hiding on the second floor. How should I know where Father was hiding?
Are you sure about that? Do you really know where Kinzo was hiding?
Madam knows where Kinzo was hiding? That's insane. That can't be true. Both Shannon and Cannon knew that Kinzo was already dead, so they didn't have a clue how Erika would use the phantom of a person who didn't exist to corner Natsuhi. Kinzo is nowhere outside the mansion. Kinzo isn't on the 3rd floor. Kinzo isn't in the basement. Kinzo isn't on the 1st floor. Therefore, the only place Kinzo could possibly exist is the 2nd floor.
I accept that, Red Truth. Natsuhi, Kinzo should be somewhere on the 2nd floor. Will you still not tell us where he's hiding?
No matter how many times you ask, it won't change the fact that I don't know. Erica, start from the beginning and go in order, investigating the entire 2nd floor. Use the detective's authority to avoid missing a single clue and to see through all types of hidden doors and hidden rooms.
Yes, my master. That Natsuhi's pretty dumb, isn't she? She still can't see where we're going with this.
No need to talk more than is necessary. Come on, Erica. Take everyone with you and begin the investigation. Second floor. I don't know where they're going with this. Erica used her detective's authority to take everyone, even Natsuhi, and go up to the 2nd floor to search every womb starting at one end. Even for wombs that were thought to have nothing at all to do with the crime, Erica did not relax her search in the slightest. Her search was thorough in every single womb as they moved through them all. I bet you Kinzo isn't in any of them.
So, you still won't tell us where Kinzo's hiding?
Stop saying that. How many times do I have to say that I don't know?
Natsu, even if we do keep searching, we'll never be able to find Kinzo at this rate, right?
Of course. Kinzo doesn't exist. No matter how long the search continues, it's just a waste of time. It was known by Erica, the witch's piece, and Natsuhi, the one who knew the truth.
In that case, the search will end in the room at the far end of that corridor. In other words, it will have been proven that Kinzo wasn't in any of the rooms except that one. What do you think about that?
He isn't on the 3rd floor, the 1st floor, the basement. He isn't in any of the rooms on the 2nd floor except the one at the end. So if he really did exist in this bed, it should have been proven that he could only exist in that room at the end. In other words, this was Temple's Raven. Because it had been established that a living Kinzo couldn't exist anywhere except the final womb at the end of the corridor, that automatically meant that a living Kinzo existed in that final womb. And that womb at the end of the corridor was...
Which room was at the end of the corridor again?
Lambda Delta was munching on a refill of popcorn.
That's Natsu's room, Lady Lambda Delta.
In other words, Kinzo had no place to hide except inside Natsui's room. Do I need to say it in red?
Of course.
Kinzo does not exist anywhere outside Natsui's room.
Well then, that means that this room is the only place left. It means Kinzo isn't anywhere outside this room.
Isn't this my room? Where exactly in my room do you claim Father is hiding?
In a rage, Natsuhi unlocked the door to a room and pointed inside. Of course, Kinzo was nowhere to be seen.
Do you see Father anywhere in here? Look!
I see. Looks like he isn't there. Did he realize we were coming and escape out the window?
If Kinzo wasn't in this last room, it meant that he didn't exist anywhere. There was no living Kinzo outside the mansion. There was no living Kinzo inside the mansion. Therefore, no living Kinzo exists. However, Erica didn't make that argument. She had pointed that out herself without making a checkmate. It was because Burncastle didn't want to win by cornering Natsuhi with a red truth. She wanted to force Natsuhi to accept a humiliating resignation.
I've not only been searching for Kinzo himself all this time, I've been looking for signs that Kinzo hid somewhere between midnight and the morning, and no such signs have existed.
In other words, from midnight until morning, Kinzo was always holed up in the same room, and that was Natsuhi's room.
It means the checkmate of Red Truth has finally cornered the piece known as Kinzo's Phantom inside Natsuhi's room.
Hey Natsuhi, this means you were with Kinzo in this room until morning. Did you still claim that you didn't know where he was?
I'll acknowledge it with the red truth. During the night between midnight and morning, a living Kinzo could not have existed anywhere outside Natsuhi's room.
Well, that's kind of a cheap way of wording it.
I permit you to use this truth to advance your argument about how he could only have existed in Natsui's room.
A plea bargain. Hey Natsui, even someone as stupid as you must have realized the fix you're in now. This is your last chance. Make Kinzo the culprit. Call the Ushiromiya family head a criminal and crush the head's honor to protect yourself. If you show that you have the guts to do that, I'll change the plot into one of a tragic heroine taking the blame to protect the family head. Father is innocent. I cannot call Father a criminal.
She's refused the deal. Hehe, okay, bird, do it.
Uh-oh.
During the night, between midnight and morning, there exists no place for a living Kinzo to exist except inside your bed.
She slept with him.
What? And what do you mean by that?
After conducting a thorough search of this room and a detailed scientific examination, I discovered that Kinzo did not exist anywhere in this room between midnight and morning. However, your bed is the only exception.
The shocked silence dominated the room. Natsui completely forgot to close the open mouth.
Last night, around the time the gold was discovered, so probably at around 11 o'clock, Kinzo escaped from the window onto the third floor and snuck into the bed in your room. And, as an even more unfortunate result of my investigation, it has been proven that you were also sleeping in that bed.
I'll repeat it. From midnight until morning, a living Kinzo could only have existed inside Natsui's bed. And last night, Natsui also slept in that same bed.
Wow, look how close they were. So you two were so close to each other you slept sharing the same pillow.
Blue truth. Therefore, it is suspected that Ushiromiya Natsui and Ushiromiya Kinzo had sexual relations with each other.
Damn it.
Why else would a man and a woman share the same bed all night long? How rude! To think that I would... Kinzo doesn't actually exist. To do such a thing with the father I respected so much. I won't allow you to say such things.
Also, you had a small penis.
Use the red truth to counter this blue truth. Of course, since you aren't a witch, there's no red you can use. So I'll speak with the red truth in your place. At least I will if you can show me convincing proof.
How could such proof even exist? How low are you willing to sink to mock me? Damn it! Natsui tried to attack Erika, but Ava pinned her arms behind her back so she couldn't do anything.
How unsettling. In order to take revenge against the Ushiromiya family, you first schemed to take control of everything the family owned. For that reason, you used your body as a weapon and ensnared Kinzo.
I never did anything of the sort. I've never given my body to anyone except my husband.
I understand why you want to deny it, but testimony from several witnesses has already made clear that you have repeated secret meetings with Kinzo.
Yep.
After all, last night you went to say goodnight to Kinzo, with just the two of you alone in his study. Right, and beyond that, I've collected multiple bits of testimony regarding clear traces of sexual intercourse, like this condom I found.
Are you insane? Who was it? Who said something so ridiculous? Goda? Shannon? Was it Ava? Yes, you must be behind something that's ludicrous. Who was it? Who? Wah!
I've received testimony from those involved. Wow, this is pretty fatal. No room for doubt now.
Hey, Natsui. Looks like you don't even have a scrap of honor left now. But I'll give you one final chance before I build you the worst of all possible fragments. Go ahead and say that Kinzo wasn't there, okay?
That's right, you sure are stubborn, Natsuhi. The Ushiromiya family has already been torn to ribbons, right? Are you really that desperate to confuse the inheritance problem by pretending Kinzo exists?
Especially since Kraus is dead now, so who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
This is my final challenge in protecting the honor of the Ushiromiya family, which father entrusted me with. My husband's business will definitely succeed. Until we can use that to repay our debts, I cannot hand over the inheritance of the Ushiromiya family. Oh, I will protect father and my husband's honor. That is my mission.
Wanting to protect the honor of the dead is an admirable trait. He's not one of the dead. We're talking about the honor of a convenient delusion inside Natsui's head. The real Kinzo never once ordered Natsui to protect that honor. Wah! As Natsui screamed, she fell down to her hands and knees. She no longer had any way to reject the fake truth that Burncastle and Erica had weaved. By my name as the Game Master, Lambda Delta, I acknowledge Lady Burncastle as the victor of this game. If anyone has any objections, state your name now.
Nope. I'm good.
Of course, there were none. All of those who might have objected had been erased. No objections? Burn, this is your victory, and a wonderful victory it is. Now you must weave up the fragment of the truth. Sure, I'll go weave up the truth. This is the truth of this sad, pathetic tale. Though I did want Natsui to acknowledge her crime while half laughing, half crying. After all, that's standard in the genre, right?
Ooh boy.
Ooh boy. So Battler and Beatrice are gone, they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Natsui's the culprit. And she's having sex with Kinzo.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. A lot happened.
Well, I guess next time we're gonna read the story as Burncastle. We're gonna write it.
I guess. Yep. Or Furuto writes it.
Yeah. Same person.
Mm-hmm, pretty much.
Basically.
Almost.
Yeah, that one went longer than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, that was like
but
fucking
we
3.5 hours.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was 3 hours.
Oh.
But, we joked around a lot for about a half hour.
Mm.
Because I thought this was going to be 2.5 hours. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because that was how long the other guys, that's how long theirs went. But yeah. This is the last one that's this long. There's no more that are really long like this.
Yes.
Good, because it was way past my bedtime.
Yeah, it's a little late. It's a little late.
I usually am asleep already. Okay, well, I hope everybody has a good day.
Yep, I hope everybody does that as well. You have a good sleep, Tony.
Thanks, you have a good sleep, Mike.
Nope.
Okay, bye.